How y'all doing? How are y'all doing? I want these children to release me. I want these children to release me. The way it's going, I might not even be considering Love Island games. I I have never been so stressed out before by a show. This is absolutely insane. And you know what? I feel like it's my fault. It's my fault because every time I defend a man, the universe shows me why I should never do it. Every time. Maybe this is my karma. Maybe this is my fault, guys. Maybe it's me because every time I defend a man, I cannot, like, what was the reason? None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. And I knew that 23 was going to show up at some point. I wanted to be positive. But I'm just like, there's no way that if it were me at 27, I would want to be in a relationship, a serious relationship with a young man with an underdeveloped brain. That frontal lobe is needed. Because 27-year-old Ace would have not made this decision. I'm going to tell you right now, Star Family, little insider tea, this is very bad. This is very bad. I know that Love Island Legal, I know that NBC Universal Legal is scrambling right now. I don't know who Ace talked to, who gave him the go-ahead, but that boy broke his NDA. He's still under contract with this show for a year. So whoever was advising him legally, I hope you were right. Because in this interview, he made a lot of accusations. And Ace, baby, I pray for your sake that you are telling the truth. because this is really, really, really bad. Remember when we talked and I said, I don't think that Love Island will even be around for a season 8. Well, we're going to get into it, guys. That boy made a lot of accusations. I'm going to be honest with you. The only problem I have with Ace in this interview is that he did not protect Alandria and Shelly. That's the only problem, because out of everybody that he mentioned in this podcast, the only 2 people who are getting the most hate are the 2 Black women who were getting hate while they were in the villa with him. My issue with him is that he did not protect the Black woman that he said he loved. But we going to get into it, y'all. We are going to get into it. The core 4 is no more. I also watched Taylor's live. I don't know what that child who does not enunciate, my God, today, 25 years old, you need to be enunciated. We're not going to get, he understands and all of that stuff. He cannot speak. Something is, anyway, I watched his live. I don't think he has management either, because I wouldn't have done that. Taylor live reacted to Ace's interview. And that's why I was just like, I hope that Ace is telling the truth, because before Ace even said some things, Taylor already disproved it. And that's his boy. I literally watched Taylor say, no, that didn't happen. And then Ace, he watched the video and Ace said it. And then he was like, oh, well, maybe I didn't see it. This is so bad. Clout is a hell of a drug. And I'm telling you, Gen Z, y'all going to die behind that clout. Y'all going to die behind that clout. This is such a folly. This is such a stupid thing to do. Not only legally, but just financially. Ace stopped his bag and a woman that he said that he loved. Because under a sponsored post right now, Shelly is receiving so much hate. That's not good for brands. That's why Huda can't get no jobs. And what Ace has single-handedly done is proven 2 people right. Austin and them hood rats. I don't think he thought this through. And I do not think that this was a wise decision to make. I knew that 23 was going to show up. I'm telling you, so many opportunities are wasted on youth. Oh my God, today, boy, I don't think you'll get another opportunity like this in your lifetime. And you threw it away because what? Jealousy. And y'all could try to fight me on this. That boy with 2 things. He was hurt and he was jealous. That's why we're here. That is why we are here. And I'm going to tell you, when Ace said that he was going to sit down with Speedy, immediately I felt uneasy. Because Speedy has been a day one NikkiNicoleStar hater. We just got to call it what it is. He always made sure to point out in his Love Island reviews that he did not think that NikkiNicoleStar was real. NikkiNicoleStar was real. So when Ace decided to sit down with him, I was like, why would you do that if those 2 people are your friends? Maybe I'm missing something, right? Maybe I didn't see what they saw. But according to the Love Islanders, they didn't see a damn thing because nobody watched the show. So everybody is being their eyes and ears because they didn't watch the show. So all of these people are moving around like these people are friends, and they are not, because they did not watch the show. They did not protect themselves or prepare themselves for this firestorm that is this show. I just don't know why he did this. I don't know why he did this. And it gave me pause. I was just like, why would you go on Speedy? But again, maybe I didn't see anything. But as soon as Ace sat down with Speedy, he talked about how much he admired him. And that is another thing that made me uneasy, because when younger men sit down with older men that they admire, they make a fool of themselves, because they are trying to impress the old head. And that's exactly what he did. Speedy in no way protected Ace, because he has no relationship with Ace. Speedy knew, sitting there, listening to everything that Ace was saying, that he was going to make some money off of this interview. And he let that young man that looks up to him and admires him embarrass himself. He didn't stop him or protect. And listen, Speedy didn't have to. He's not supposed to. He's the host. He's the host. Ace gave him his first and only interview, because Ace said, I'm not talking anymore. And if I do talk, they're going to have to pay me. Baby, you are not getting paid. You're getting sued. Oh my God. This is why you need management to handle stuff like this. This is why you need a team, particularly a team of people who are older than you and more seasoned in this business. Because if Ace had a team, he wouldn't have made this decision. This was Ace's ego. And unfortunately for him, but fortunately for Speedy, this was the best thing ever that could have happened to Speedy. The second best thing, the first thing was him breaking Ray J's glasses. That was the first thing. That was the first thing that catapulted his career. This is going to take him to another level. This was so not smart. This was so not smart. I also believe that there are a few reasons why we're here. One, absolutely jealousy. 2, hurt. Hurt and betrayal is what we're dealing with here. 3, red pill content. These young men are red pilled, and they are dealing with this alpha male mindset and just really ravishing any opportunities that they have, because they are out there in the world existing with no empathy. And they burn everything down without thinking of what happens next. He did not think this through. He did not think this through. Now, when he sees the consequences, he probably might get it. But I think the damage is already done. I don't know if he can repair this. No posts on your stories apologizing to Shelly and Alandria. It won't fix this. You got to sit down with somebody bigger than Speedy. You better pull some strings and get Oprah on the line. My God, today, this was not smart. In this interview, Ace talked about how he was definitely hurt and betrayed by the show. He feels like the show portrayed him poorly and not accurately, and he was hurt by that. And I'm going to say this. I still think he's right. I still think that Ace got a bad edit, right? Ace made a very dumb decision with this Speedy interview. I still think that Ace and every Black person on Love Island got an extremely bad edit. And the reason why I say that is because everybody who was there, everybody who was a part of Love Island refutes the claims that Ace was this master manipulator, that he was this terrible guy, that Alandria and Shelly were bullies. Everybody is saying none of that happened. Everybody was shocked that Ace and Shelly were eliminated from the show. Everybody thought that Ace and Shelly were going to win the show. So even though I don't agree with what he did today, I still believe that he got a bad edit. I still believe that Ace and every Black person on this season got a horrible edit. Even Taylor. They did not get an accurate edit, because I am going off of the Islanders, who are shocked by everything that we're seeing. They can't believe the show. Those who watched. He clarifies his issues with Amaya. Ace said that he didn't like how she was marking her territory. He repeatedly said that, he still wanted to be open and he wanted to explore, but he felt like Amaya was trying to lock him down. So that's why he was saying, don't call me babe, because it will look like me and you are closer than what we really are. Now, Ace says influencers, made a lot of decisions for him and all of the Islanders. I will say, Ace, for you to say that you did not like what Amaya was doing and didn't want her to lock it down with her, I am still not understanding. Unless it was the influencers, I am still not understanding why you chose her. You could have chosen Shelly and still explored. So I'm not understanding what was your tactic there for choosing Amaya, because immediately after you chose her, you were turned off by her. And even though I am not a fan of Amaya, I still think that she was justified in being upset in your immediate switch up. Because although you chose her when Shelly was an option, you chose Amaya but still pursued Shelly. You weren't choosing. You chose her, took her away from whatever connection she could have had, and then left her out there and still pursued Shelly. You did the same thing that Taylor did to Alandria. So I'm not understanding, unless producers made you pick her, I'm not understanding why you voluntarily put yourself in that situation anyway. Now I can agree that you set boundaries with Amaya and she crossed them. That I do believe. I believe he set boundaries with her, and I believe that Amaya crossed them, because everybody has set boundaries with Amaya in the village. She crossed them, and everybody's coming out and saying that. Even Austin. It's just like she is a habitual line crosser. We know that Amaya is hooded with a lisp. We know that now. So I can understand what he's saying, but I'm just like, unless you were influenced, why did you choose her? Because if you chose me and then started pursuing somebody else and ignoring me, I would feel some sort of way as well. So I'm not understanding that there. He says he's not going to talk to anybody again unless they pay him. So I guess we will never know why he made that decision. When Speedy asked him if Taylor was leading Alandria on, he acted like he couldn't answer. Well, he acted like he couldn't answer and laughed and said that Taylor had outside influences. And now we know the outside influences, or he's alluding to the outside influences being producers. And then he says that Alandria is his dog. And I don't know why Ace and Taylor keep on calling Alandria a dog. I know what they mean, but I don't like it. I do not like it, because if Alandria is your dog, why are you not protecting your dog? Because you say that you're protecting her now because of the situation with Nick, but you weren't protecting her when it was Taylor. I'm confused, young man. I'm confused, because we have literal footage of Taylor telling you that he is not attracted to Alandria, and we have footage of you telling Taylor to fix it, try to find it, work on it with Alandria. So you knew that he didn't want her, and you still encouraged him to pursue her. How was that any different than what you're accusing Nick of doing? Baby, I think you're lying. I think you're lying, but only time will tell. I said this in the beginning, but I really hope this is the case for him, because this is bad. I am just telling you, as somebody who's been out here for a minute. The Ace made a lot of accusations in this interview. I hope he has really good legal representation, and I hope he was advised to speak the way he spoke in this interview by somebody who could protect him legally, because this is a firestorm, because you are not allowed to speak about any reality TV show for a year after you've done it, and you can't be on any other reality TV show for a year. So that's why I knew at the reunion Huda was lying. I get Netflix. I can't. She's a liar. She ain't in no contract with Netflix. She can't. Legally, she can't be. And Netflix is smart enough to not do that, because they got the same contract as NBC. So she was lying. And that's why I'm just like, how are you able to make these accusations still under contract? I hope you got some good legal representation, baby. Because also, if you are, because he's alluding to these influencers forcing them to make these decisions. Now, if you are saying, young man, that the producers of Love Island forced you and Taylor to make decisions y'all did not want to make, then you are accusing Love Island of breaking several laws. I'm telling you right now, the FCC is watching that interview with a pen and a notepad. Because if he is even alluding, it's enough that he was forced to make decisions, and Taylor, that he's also saying this, everybody else in the villa too. If he is saying that he was forced to make those decisions on this game show where money is involved, then he is accusing Love Island of breaking several game show laws. That's how bad it is. And if there is any kind of research or investigation into this, and it is found that what he is saying is true, NBC will be fined into in oblivion. This is very dangerous. I wouldn't have done it. But my frontal lobe is developed. I wouldn't have done it. I hope he got some good legal representation. I really, really do. Because if you are saying that the reason, because remember, guys, we talked about this. When he stood behind Huda and she reached out her hand to thank him and he swiped her hand, Speedy asked him, why did he do that? And he said, because I wanted her to know that I didn't want to do that. I was forced to do that. His words. I wanted her to know I was forced to do that and I didn't want to reward her behavior. He didn't want to stand behind her. He said he was forced to stand behind her. And if he had it his way, he would have stood behind Jalen. First accusation. Force, the words he used. We might not have a Love Island season 8. At this rate, we might not even have Love Island games. And the thing about it is, the reason why that boy got some sort of case is because there is footage for everything that he is saying. We saw him swipe her hand. And he said it's because I didn't want her to know, because I wanted her to know I was forced to be there. So that means that now Jalen got a case against NBC Universal. Because that means they rigged the show against him. Because if he had an opportunity to be in the running to win $100,000 and the show intervened and forced Islanders to vote a certain way, he got a case. And you know who else got a case? That boho nut job, Sierra. Because Ace is also alleging that the show removed her so that Nicolandria could happen. Baby, I hope you got Ben Crump on speed dial. I really, 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 really do. There are so many things we have to touch in this interview. Mom, not yet. I told you I'm gonna bring you up because I'm not gonna let you derail this conversation. Here's the thing. I also think that NBC, allegedly, it may possibly, a possibility will be that in order to avoid any investigation, I think if the FCC does want to investigate the show, it's still going to happen. But I think to not further any more damage to the network, NBC it might be the safest thing to just cancel the show. It might be the safest thing to just let ITV. Now, Love Island USA may live again, but on another network. It might be safer for them to be like, we're going to let this show go because it's a liability. Firing production is absolutely going to happen. All the producers involved are gone. All of them are gone. All of them are gone because of the accusations he made in here. Even if they're not true, the accusations are enough for them to remove the entire production team. So that's absolutely going to happen. Canceling, I'm not sure, but it could. They could probably just release the show and tell ITV to go pitch it somewhere else. But with the firestorm that's going to come out of this interview, I don't even know if any other network will want to pick it up because it is proven to be a liability. Yikes. Yikes, 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 yikes. That when he said force, I said, well, I know legal ain't going home tonight. I know they are working overtime. Also, Speedy, get ready to plead the fifth or get some legal representation as well, because you're going to be named in this lawsuit. Like everybody's going to be named in this lawsuit. Ace also describes that the full clip of Jeremiah's elimination was not clipped, and that again, that the full clip of Jeremiah's elimination was not shown. And he says that the influencers, allegedly the producers, made that decision for them. So he was saying that he basically that there were other things that were said and there were reasonings given why they wanted to send somebody home. And he is alleging that it wasn't Jeremiah, but that the producers influenced them, or the influencers influenced them to make that decision to send him home. My God, today. He's also mad, and I agree with him here. He's also mad that everybody switched up in the villa, right? And we saw the switch up happen in real time, guys. We saw that as soon as everybody came out, everybody was shocked that Ace and Shelley were eliminated. Everybody thought that Ace and Shelley were going to win the show. Everybody loved Ace and Shelley. They were the mom and dad of the villa. And then as soon as they saw how popular Huda was, all of a sudden everybody switched up. Ace is a manipulator. Shelley is a bully. Like everybody switched up. Now everybody backtracked at the reunion, but we didn't see that because even Vanna and Jeremiah said that people apologized and defended, Ace and Shelley and Alandria, and that Nick stood up for Alandria. And we just did not see those things. But I do agree with him feeling some way because we all watched them flip. We all watched them flip on the once core four when they saw how popular Huda was. Mom, stop, take notes. That's what you need to be doing. Take notes. So Ace discusses NikkiNicoleStar. Here is the thing. Ace feels like the show rigged the NikkiNicoleStar relationship. I will say we all kind of felt like that because, like, as somebody who's watched Love Island, I was just like, when does this ever happen? But y'all were telling me this happened in Love Island, Australia, or something like that. So I was just like, okay. But I got to be honest with you, as somebody who has worked in production, I would not have allowed Nick and Alandria to be eliminated either, knowing that they were $1 billion draw to the show, just like Serena and Cordell. I would not have allowed them to leave either. So I probably would have switched up some things legally. I probably would have made those decisions. But I do get the show saving them because who was going to watch the show when Nick and Alandria left? We got to be honest there, right? Now, in the fine print, it does say that the producers do have some say in how certain decisions are made. However, if they are removing people and making favorable edits to certain people to get a result that they desire, that's when it gets real murky with legal, because this is a game show, a contest where money is on the line, and when you start messing with it like that, it can appear to be unfair. He definitely also admits that that when he came out the villa, everything was NikkiNicoleStar, and he said that when he was in the villa, he saw something going on with them, but when they were eliminated and then immediately came back, and then all of a sudden he was influenced to discuss them on camera, he knew that this show was being rigged in their favor, because he was just like, they were eliminated. They came back the next day, and then all of a sudden we all have to have these scenes where I personally have to discuss how much I liked this coupling and how I saw this all coming together and I knew this would happen. And he was just like, that wasn't what I felt or thought. I was influenced to say those things and I didn't feel that way. And that's what made him think that the show was rigged for Nick Alandria. And he said it also was very weird to him how all of a sudden they became this couple when they both have expressed to him that they were not interested in each other. But we saw that, Ace. We saw them say that, oh, it's just, we tried it. It's just a friendship. And then we both heard, and then we all saw them say that, oh, we were holding back because we wanted to be respectful of the relationships, the couplings that we were already in. So Ace didn't say anything new in that situation because I was just like, yeah, they both said that. So you're not giving us any new tea. They both said that they were holding back because they wanted to respect the couplings that they were in. But then when Taylor made it known that he picks Clark, he kept on saying that on his live, very immature. But when he made it known that he picked Clark and that's who he wanted to be with, and Nick didn't have anybody, they decided to explore it. We also watched both of their parents encourage them in this relationship. And we also watch the both of them say their parents encouraging and giving them approval made them feel safer to explore the relationship. So he wasn't giving any tea to me. It wasn't a gotcha there. Like I think he thought that he was doing. And he also seemed very hesitant to be happy for Nick. He said that he was happy for Alandria, but he was very hesitant to say that he was happy for Nick. Like Speedy had to pull that out of him. He then discusses the heart rate challenge. Ace said that the clip was sped up. And I do agree with that. He said he did not expect for Huda to lick his genitalia. Stick with me. He said that he did not expect that. And he also said that he felt uncomfortable with what happened, right? Speedy said, well, you didn't look uncomfortable. He's just like, just because my heart rate was raised does not mean that I enjoyed it. I was just really uncomfortable with what's going on. But it was also put on me that I don't like to be touched. And I'm like, I'm really like a stickler. And I wanted to participate and let everybody know that I was having show everybody that I was a team player and I could have a good time. But he mentions that he was uncomfortable. And here's the thing. We got two things so far in this interview that's a problem. Ace is saying that he was forced to make decisions that he did not want to make by producers, allegedly. He's alleging that happened. He's also now saying that he was uncomfortable with Huda licking his genitalia. Full stop. Full stop. Now we got another investigation. Because now we're having a contestant who is letting the audience know that he felt sexually violated by another contestant. Full stop. We got a problem. Because if Ace would have said, well, it was a heart rate challenge and we got to do what we got to do. So it was fine. But I saw that Shelly felt disrespected. And, I realized that wasn't okay. I should have not enjoyed as much as I enjoyed. Because he said, listen, I was bouncing the bongos and everything. He said, it looked like I was having a good time. But he said, I wasn't. I was uncomfortable. And I did not expect, he said, everybody says consent. But I didn't expect her to do that. And why we have a problem is because everybody that witnessed that heart rate challenge said the same thing. Said that Huda took it too far. Taylor even re-said that in his live. He said, yeah, we all said that she took it too far. And then Taylor even said in his live, y'all didn't see the worst of it. That is an issue, guys. That is an issue because now the person who Huda committed this act on is saying he was uncomfortable with that and he did not enjoy that. And I want us to be very careful especially us ladies, I want us to be very careful with how we talk about this, because if the roles were reversed, we would side with the woman. So let's be very careful with how we talk, but let's not minimize. Now, we can be mad at Ace for not protecting Shelly and Alandria, but I don't want to minimize him saying that was not what I consented to. That made me uncomfortable, because there are women who have had interactions with men, especially young women who have had interactions with men, who did not even realize until they were damn near in their 30s that what happened to them should not have happened. So I don't want to diminish that, but I will say this. Him saying that is another legal problem for Love Island. That is not good. That is not good. The firestorm that's going to come out of this is crazy. He said, I was uncomfortable and I did not expect her to do that. My heart rate being raised does not mean that I enjoyed it. It means that I was uncomfortable. And he said that Shelly, she was on him. She didn't like it. She felt disrespected by him. And he was just, and even Taylor said it as well. Taylor was just like, y'all only saw a couple minutes. Shelly was on him about that. She did not like that Ace even participated in that. She wanted him to shut that down. But here on this interview, we have Ace expressing his physical boundaries. And now we have, not only do we have Ace expressing his physical boundaries, we have Ace expressing his physical boundaries that were violated by two women on the show. And one of the women, we have her in 4K violating two other men on the show. Y'all should have got rid of that girl when you could. Y'all should have gotten rid of that girl when you could. Ace then discusses Nick. And in this segment where he discusses Nick, we find out why Ace is beefing with Nick. Because Nick had no idea. Nick had no idea that he was beefing with Ace. Because when Ace put up the post that he was going to sit down with Speedy, Nick was in his comments hyping him up. He was excited. He was excited for this interview. He had no idea that he was going to be the T in this interview. So we find out why they are beefing, because when Nick said at the reunion that the Final Four is who America wanted it to be, so he was okay with the Final Four. And Ace was upset because he was just like, wait a minute. In close conversations, we all express that should not have been the Final Four. So for him to say that at the reunion and on camera, he felt like Nick violated him. Like he felt like his friend betrayed him, because they all talked about how Ace and Shelly should have been in the final, that the Final Four should have been Ace and Shelly and probably Clark and Taylor. I don't even think they thought about NikkiNicoleStar, right? NikkiNicoleStar. But he has said that he has even spoken to Nick about that, and they have all talked in the conversation. Taylor confirmed it, that they all admitted that should not have been the Final Four. So Ace was just like, I didn't like that. And Speedy was just like, if that's your boy, did you say anything? And he's like, I absolutely did. And he said Nick's response to me was, oh, I'm over it. I'm past that now. So Ace was just like, oh, so you're past it now. Okay, cool. This is where we are. So for Ace, their friendship ended at the reunion. Nick was unaware. I don't think if Nick knew that Ace was not his friend, that he would have been in his comments hyping up this interview, that he would have got that faux Nick tattoo mimicking Ace, being his boy like that. He would have never done that had he known that those two were beefing. Now, something really weird is happening here, because Taylor kept on watching that. When Taylor was live reacting to this part of the review, one, he wasn't watching and he wasn't really reacting of the interview. He wasn't really watching and he wasn't really reacting, which made me think that he already knew this. He already knew that Ace was beefing with Nick, because he kept on saying that doesn't mean that they're not friends. He just got an issue with him, but that doesn't mean that they're not friends. And I'm like, how in the hell are they going to be friends after this? But Taylor kept on saying, no, they're not. They're still friends. They're still friends. This was just a little something. They're still friends. Ace and Nick are always fighting. I feel like Ace crossed the line in this friendship. I will give Ace this, because Ace says everything that I'm going through, my name is being dragged through the mud. I'm getting all of this hate towards me, this racial violence and all of this stuff towards me. And my friend who was there, my friend who saw it all, won't stick up for me, won't back me up, and will say that the decision that was made was the right decision. And I told y'all this. I don't have any friend in my life that has privilege that does not use that privilege to protect me. There ain't a white person in my circle, my very small circle that I call friend, that has not used their privilege to either catapult or protect me. I do not play that, because if I am receiving hate, racial violence from your community, you see it and you say nothing. You are not a friend to me. You are an enemy. Now, your privilege could be blinding and you can't see it. That's fine. But if I express that to you and you tell me you're over it, I would have a problem with you as well. So I do agree with Ace there, because remember, in my last live, y'all, I told y'all I got a problem with Big Belgian. I said, I'm tired of him seeing Huda's side, because at this point, this girl has violated all of the Black people in your life. All of the Black people that you consider friend, especially the Black woman that you are not only in some kind of relationship with, sleeping with, joking about, being sexually active with her, saying that you want to move in and live with her, and saying that you want a future for her. In my opinion, it is beyond time for him to have stepped in and protected her. If he wasn't going to protect nobody else, he should have protected her. Now, maybe somebody is telling him not to speak up, but then here is my issue with that. He spoke up to defend Huda. He spoke up to say that he could see her side. Now, I'll give the reunion to him, because everybody at that reunion so far has said that he spoke up and protected her. It was cut out. And you even see a clip of him halfway crying, because he even said, do I have that picture? Do I have that picture? Because he said on, I think, his Snapchat, here it is. He said on his Snapchat story, this was in response to this, from a Snapchat commenter. It said, did you cry at any point at the reunion? He said, I was getting emotional knowing how hard it's been for Alandria and all of the hate and racism she is experiencing. And then on top of that, knowing how much she pours into other people, but doesn't receive it back. Now, I'm glad he did that, right? It would have been better for him to do it on every podcast he was on, every interview, because the privilege that he has to access that to protect her. Because not only is Nick white, he's a conventionally attractive white man, and he is a conventionally attractive white man, a straight white man that has influence. So the moment he stepped in and says, stop, it would have stopped, because the way this system is set up, he will be respected. Huda bows to him. Nick was the day one Huda hater. He wanted her out of that villa from day one. He even said to her face, it is no mystery. I've been wanted you out of the villa. She never called him a bully. She has no issues with him, because she knows she has no power over a white man. I've been said that he should have said something. Now, with that, I can't rock with Big Belgian. And if what Ace is saying is true, that he told Nick about that conversation, and Nick said that he's over it and dismissed him, I understand him being upset with him. My issue is that Alandria should not have been thrown into his war with Nick. Because you said Nick violated you. So why throw Alandria in there? Why throw in Alandria and Nick's relationship being fake when you are sitting down on a podcast with somebody who has questioned that relationship? And the reason why the relationship was deemed to be fake was because people could not fathom that Nick would be attracted to a dark-skinned Black woman. And even she felt that way. So why would you, as her dog, as somebody who loves her, give any power to that narrative, knowing how it broke her down? That's my problem with her. Because in this beef or war, this one-sided war that you have with Nick, you made Shelly and Alandria collateral damage. You took a shot at Nick and put Shelly and Alandria in front of the bullet because you should be wise enough to know, since you're saying the age don't matter, you should be wise enough to know that ain't nobody gonna come for you like they're gonna come for them Black women. But especially dark-skinned Black women who are the most disrespected people on this planet. Right now, your girlfriend is being harassed by everyone. Ain't nobody protecting her now because of the words that you said. In a sponsored post, she's being dragged into the oblivion. The most vile things are being said about her. Black women and hood rats and Klan member and racists and anti-Black Latinas have all linked up now and are dragging this woman that you said is going to be your first and last girlfriend. You didn't protect her. Nobody's going to come for you like they're going to come for her. And now here you are adding fuel to the fire that invalidates Alandria's desirability. This was ego. This was ego and jealousy, and you were only thinking of yourself because you say that your issue is that you told Nick everything that you were going through. You never said everything that Shelly was going through. You never said everything that Alandria was going through. You said, I was going through all of this stuff, and you didn't use your influence to protect me. You didn't say that we should have been in the Final Four when you said that to me in my face in private. Well, how about this, Ace? You said on After Sun. And you couldn't drum up any kind of confidence that Nick and Alandria should have been in the Final Four. So why do you want him to do something for you that you didn't do for him? Maybe he was beefing with you over that. So maybe y'all both beefing about the same thing, and now y'all got your lick back. What he did in this interview was completely irresponsible. Completely irresponsible. And then and this is another thing that he did, and that's why I was just like, I hope he's telling the truth. He said that he saw some cold sores in the villa, and this is why I feel like this is where I feel like he's going to have a huge problem, is because Taylor, his boy, said that there weren't any cold sores. That idiot reacted to that interview on live and kept on stopping it and commenting before watching everything through. So before we even got to Ace saying that there was a cold sore outbreak in the villa, Taylor said it wasn't. Taylor said Nick's lip was busted by Charlie. Nick said the same thing. So then he watches it and Ace says there was a cold sore outbreak and Taylor goes, well, I didn't see it. I didn't see nothing then. And maybe I wasn't paying attention. This is why you need management. Everybody needs management. Everybody. But I don't think management is even worth it anymore because you're done. You are absolutely done. Ego. Now listen. Either Ace is telling the truth or Nick and Bella and Charlie and Taylor are lying about the cold sores. Either way, we're going to find out if this lawsuit goes to trial, child. He speaks about Shelly and Alandria being bullies, and he says no, they were not bullies. They held themselves to a very high standard. He does allude to, the mistreatment of Black people on the show, but he makes this comment, and that's why I was just like, these young men and women being red-pilled is going to be the downfall of the Black American community, because he says he didn't want to give power to the mistreatment that they received on the show and outside of the show by the fan base, because he doesn't want to give weight to the victim mentality. Where in the hell did you learn victim mentality? Ace, that's not how Black Americans talk. That is not something that is in our vocabulary. It is because you are consuming red pill content, and red pill is just a nice way of saying Nazi propaganda, white supremacist propaganda. Where the hell did you learn victim mentality? And that is a problem, because if he were wise, he would have said, yes, there was clear mistreatment of the Black Islanders on the show and off the show. That the fan base would have been behind you, because we watched it. We saw that. Now that got some receipts. But he said, oh, I don't want to feed into the victim mentality. You sound foolish. You sound, even using that term as a Black American, you sound foolish. The red pill content creators, podcasters and streamers got y'all brains fried. Oh, I feel bad for the kids. He said that Huda could have spoken out about the racism that Shelly and Alandria received, because she spoke out about a streamer that people said that she insulted, and she spoke out the next day, but she still to this day has not spoken on behalf of Huda, on behalf of Shelly and Alandria. He says that his friends currently as of today are Alandria, Shelly, Taylor, and sometimes Brian. Nick, I told you that boy wasn't your friend. And he says this, and Taylor mentioned that after the interview, Ace called Taylor and said that he also meant to mention Clark. So his friends as of today are Alandria, I don't think so, child, Shelly, Taylor, sometimes Brian, and Clark. And here's the thing about him saying Brian, because he says that he talks to Brian from time to time. And we see how Brian is moving with Nick. I will say this. If Brian is Nick's friend and is supposed to be his roommate and moving in with him, and Ace is talking to him back and forth and feels this certain way about Nick, I think that they both need to be very wary about him, because if Brian is bringing a bone back to Ace, he's absolutely taking a bone back to Nick. I think they both need to sit down, talk about this situation, and compare stories. And I think somewhere in between this mess, they're going to find Brian. That is just my assumption. I could be wrong. He once again reiterates that Nick was not being honest about the Final Four. That's the real thing. It's not about protecting Alandria. It's the Final Four. He wanted Nick to say that Shelly and Alandria should have either won the show or been in the Final Four, because that's what Nick said to him in private. And in public, Nick was being very diplomatic, and he didn't like that. And I could agree with him on there, because I did not agree with Nick being diplomatic. I didn't agree with that. The PR train, the hell with that. You don't be diplomatic when racism is involved. I've been had a problem with that. So that I can agree with him on, but this was never about looking out for your friend Alandria. It was about getting your lick back at Nick, who you felt like did not protect you and did not bring you into the opportunities that he is now gaining from being diplomatic. He also said that Nick let him know that there was no spark there with Alandria. So he's just like, when Speedy asked him if he thought the relationship was real, he just, smirked or whatever. He just said, well, Nick told him there wasn't any spark there. So he doesn't really think that Nick is that Nick wants to be in a relationship with her. He does think that Nick is attracted to Alandria, but he doesn't think that Nick wants to be in a relationship with Alandria. So he basically feels like Nick is scamming Alandria. And my thing is, if he told you this, Ace, if Nick told you that there was no spark with Alandria in the freaking villa, because that's what he's alluding to, He didn't say that Nick recently told him that there's no spark with him and Alandria. Ace is talking about the conversation that we all watched him have with Nick at the in the villa, right? And I'm just like, if you thought that Nick was scamming Alandria, why would you buddy up with him and on a couple's date at Disney? Why were you all buddied up with him at the photo shoots? If you thought that he didn't really like Alandria and that he was scamming her, why did y'all both come together and do that whole Disney production? If you thought that Nick was scamming your dog, it's because this is not about Alandria. This is about his ego being bruised by Nick. And to get back at Nick, he threw Alandria under the bus and inadvertently threw Shelly under the bus. Not wise. Not wise, Shelly. Think long and hard about this relationship, because that man, an impulsive, unwise man, will drain your bank account and kill all your opportunities. Be wise, my sister. Be wise, my sister. But here's another thing. He was so focused on Nick and Alandria not being real, he still has yet to make Shelly his girlfriend. And then he says everybody needs to stay out of my relationship and mind their business. But you're all the way in Nick and Alandria's relationship, so you can mind their business, but we, the audience, can't mind yours. The line keeps moving. Why do we have to abide to a standard that you do not abide to within your own friendships and how you lead out? This boy is pissed. He is mad that Nick did not call his name in those rooms. He is mad that Nick and Alandria are getting opportunities that he thought should have been for him and Shelly. That's all this is. And that's why Nick and Alandria, thank God you removed Love Island from your bio. Y'all need to act like that show never happened. And my heart breaks for Alandria and Shelly because I love those two. Oh, I'll never get past this picture. But Alandria, I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry. You're going to have to let this relationship go. Because your sister's boyfriend put you in harm's way. Because he wanted to get back at your man. Unfortunately, that sisterhood isn't safe for you. I hate that for her and Shelly. I will say this. Ace said the same thing that Alandria and Shelly said. He is very mad at how the show portrayed him after they have been pursuing him for years to be on the show. So the show went after Shelly for years, Alandria for years, and Ace for years, only to come on the show, abuse them, chew them up, and spit them out. And he is rightfully angry about that, and I will give him that. Another legal problem for the show is that he says that he has anxiety about his experience from everything that he endured inside the villa and outside of the villa. He said that him and his family have been receiving death threats. I believe him. And he said he gets anxiety about that. And he's very scared about like what could happen to him and his family. And I do believe him because of what we have seen Shelly and Alandria go through. That fan base is vile. So I believe it. All in all, I will say this. He has created a huge legal issue for not only Love Island, for himself, and for everybody in the show. Because if a lawsuit does come out of this, and if it does go to trial, everybody is going to have to, they might not testify, but they're going to be called. Everybody involved is going to be called. And this is going to become such a legal nightmare for everybody. Brands are going to back off. This show has become so toxic, it's going to mess up everybody's bag, including the woman he loves. And it is completely unfair. This show has harmed these Black women in ways that they're going to be talking about for years. And it's unfortunate that the two black men on this show, the three black men on this show, have not spoken up for these women from day one. They only speak up now to use them as targets against each other. It's very unfortunate. It's very sad. I'm exhausted from this show. Um, I'm exhausted from this fan base. And I just want to be released from this drama. But I feel like, guys, it's just getting started. Mama Star has been waiting patiently to give her thoughts. Here we go. You ready, girl? Because I saw you just shake. As soon as you get on here, what do? Mom!
So,
Girl, what happened?
Latoya started calling me.
Lord,
Take me down and bring me back up, because that's what happens.
you're fine. I can see you.
But you have to.
Oh my God. Ah!
Bingo. Can you please text her, please? Because, oh my God, she is something else. I'm telling you. Thank God Mama Star did not fall asleep. Um,
Mom.
Pun intended. Hi Star family. How you doing, my loves? Mama Star is here, and Mama Star loves you guys. I've been waiting to come on here. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. We have been doing this Love Island thing for a few weeks now, and I'm telling you, it keeps getting better and better and better. Child, let me tell you. Okay, I want y'all to know that Ace has gotten legal counsel. He has gotten legal counsel before he came on this interview. Um, and before I go into all of that, I want to say all of this stuff is alleged. NikkiStar TV, NikkiStar at home. We're just talking about with things that have been talked about and that is alleged. We don't know these people personally. We don't condone bullying on this channel, and we're just commenting on what was said. All of this stuff is alleged. Okay, so don't come after us because
We're
Mama Star
fine,
get
Mom.
busy. Huh?
We're fine.
Yeah, but I'm just making it clear, putting it
Thank
on tape because
you.
you got to put everything on tape now. Okay,
Girl.
so we already found out that Ace has sought out for legal counsel because he's about to sue them. But I don't know if they're going to let it go to trial because this is a disaster all the way around because so many things was wrong with this show. Plus, don't forget, Kenny just did that to Janae on Love Island 6. So they're really in the hot seat about how they do all this stuff and how
Mhm.
he was calling her racial slurs and things like that. So the racism and the racial slurs and the way they do quote unquote black people is under a magnifying glass. And the NAACP is now involved. Now, it was something on season 6. Now this thing has come up again
Well,
in
we talked
season
about that. I said now
7.
that the NAACP is making posts about Love Island,
Yes,
they do
yes.
not get involved unless it's legal is behind it.
Bingo, bingo. That's how I know. And the way that Ace was talking, he was talking like he had been advised. He didn't, he said this is his first and last or only interview. So
Mhm.
he waited for all of this to go down before he spoke. I have to agree with NikkiStar, where she said that a lot of this is a personal vendetta because he got hurt because of how he was treated.
Yeah.
And
He's
it's personal with Nick. I
yeah.
believe that.
Yeah.
But he is right on so many accounts. Um,
Name them. Name them.
I
Name
sure
them.
will. I will.
Name them.
He pointed out that he wanted it to be clear about Huda that he was not backing her. He was
Yeah.
influenced. He was told. Now, if y'all remember before, Carlos King was
Jesus.
off of Housewives. He
Mhm.
was fired because he told Phaedra to say something about Candy. They don't play that on these networks. Um, uh, and I know firsthand, and Nikki knows firsthand that you cannot, the producers cannot influence decisions.
Yeah, you can lightly suggest, but
Yes, but you
giving
cannot,
direction.
right. You cannot give direction. You cannot tell them how to do things. That is illegal. So if Ace is implying or saying
Now, Mom, let me
that,
clarify. It is illegal only on game shows where money is involved, not on reality TV. It's frowned upon and it shouldn't happen, but
okay,
it is only illegal on game shows where money is involved.
um, okay, I'll talk to you about that offline. But
Please.
yeah, but money is involved and it was a contest. It was a contest. So if you have influenced or you have secondhand producing to get a certain person to win, that is against the law. It's illegal. So he is implying, and this is
Sure is.
alleged, that that's what was done. And he was told. And let me tell you one thing, where Ace looks good at, when he went up there to stand behind Huda, he had an attitude. He had an attitude. You could tell he did not want to support Huda.
That's
And
what I was saying about a few of his claims. There is
yes,
actual footage.
yes, he said that he was influenced or told. He couldn't say told, but he said he was influenced. So that meant that,
And we talked about that. I remember
I
on the
know,
live, I was just like,
that meant that the producers told him, we're not getting rid of Huda. So since we're keeping Huda, they're watering this hate because she had cussed out Jeremiah,
mm-hmm.
called Jeremiah out of his name, and all that, called him all kinds of PUSSYs, B's, and all of that, and nothing was done to Huda. And she, what do they call it? She, demasculated
Emasculated,
a
emasculated.
black man.
Every black man there.
But I'm just saying Jeremiah, I'm starting with him. With her emasculating him and nothing was done, that fuels his claim as well. That um nothing was done to her when she said something to him. So she's saying that she was bullied, but he was bullied and nothing was done. That that's part of his claim. So he's right as far as that is concerned. Also, he's saying that he did not know about Nick and Alandria. Okay, let me give a little context to that. Now, we saw them two get booted off. We saw them come back. They had a conversation. Ace said, "So what's going on with you and Alandria? Like, do you like her and all of that?" And he said, "Well, I want to explore it. I always liked Alandria." And he was asking him about the the feelings. And remember, he said, when he said that whole thing, I get the flutters and all of that. He said, I don't um I don't hold hands. I don't kiss my friends. She's not just my friend. There's something else there. Um when Taylor and Clark got booted off, they asked Taylor and Clark, and they were surprised. They was like, "Well, no," because they hadn't seen that part of. So Ace was off of the show when they had began to really explore, and I'm gonna show you when, because when Alandria said that she chose Nick. Then Taylor and Clark left the show. Then the next people to be eliminated was Shelly and Ace. Now, Ace was very upset. And even Shelly. I saw their faces because they was looking like. Now, he found it strange that Nick and Alandria was still there, along with Chris and Huda, along with Iris and
Pepe.
Pepe, even Amaya and Brian, because they had just got together too. Remember, Zach was trying to stay with Amaya, and
Mm-hmm.
she just picked Brian. So there wasn't no real love connections. So when they got booted off the show, he was hot. And when it came down, because they said that Nick and Alandria was safe, the next one was Pepe and Iris and Shelly and Ace. And they revealed, and he was puzzled. I was puzzled too. Everybody was puzzled. How is these other people staying on and not them? So if Ace is saying that there was influences on the show, he already knew that they had said we got to get them off of the show because they was really the winners. But if you remember, they kept saying America kept rating them low, and they didn't understand how they were being rated low because Shelley kept saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, America, that's America saying that.
Remember, they even said, "What is America seeing? What
Yeah,
are we doing?"
what are y'all showing
Everybody was
America?
shocked.
Because everybody thought that they was the favorite couple, which they were. They was the longest couple too.
Day one.
So they did not understand how they were being portrayed. So they realized that it was production. Okay. So they get removed from the show, and then they had an interview, and they were saying that they didn't realize that Nick and Alandria was together like that either, because Nick came back and said, he was still when both of them got booted off the show, when they was brought back, they said, well, we tried it and we did not feel that spark. So I want to give him credit and say that's where that originally came from, because they both said that. So he was going back to Sierra, and Landry was going back to Taylor. So when they left, the heat came up with these two even more. I don't think he should have spoke on that because he wasn't there. But he is only speaking from what he believed to have known for
Mhm.
how production do things while he was on the show.
Here's another thing. Here's an issue with all of them. They are
Hmm.
all watching this show on TikTok.
Right, right, right.
We're watching TikTok and they're creating a narrative and perspective about the show. And we
Okay.
keep on saying, watch the show from beginning to end.
To
And
end.
also,
Right.
being as though they have been contestants on the show, they
Hmm.
have access to footage that we don't.
Yes.
So they get to see a director's cut. They need to watch
But
this show.
right, and just like he said, another thing, when he made the statement that he was uncomfortable with how he was treated in the heart rate challenge, he said they speeded up
Mhm.
the
And
video.
they sped it up. And he said they didn't show everything. And
They
Taylor
didn't show
confirmed that. Taylor
everything.
said it was much
Right.
worse than
They
what
said
we
they didn't
saw.
show everything. Also, the network is done because they at the reunion they showed Huda licking his genitals. So he
Mom,
said I was
let me just say
uncomfortable.
something. When I saw that, I was just like, I would
I
have
wouldn't
never
have
shown that.
shown that.
I would have never shown that because I'm just like, And I think I talked about it in a live. I was just like, he could come out and say he didn't like that, and that could be a problem for the show.
Yeah.
And here
Yes.
we are,
And
child.
here we are. He said, I was
Here we are.
uncomfortable, but, and he said this, he said, but they had encouraged us to, make it fun and all of that. He said, but I was uncomfortable that she would lick me down there like that. And he said, I went through for a whole week with Shelly about that. Also, um, men are frowned upon when they're sexually abused or when they speak up
Mhm.
to say they're uncomfortable with a woman doing something to him. He said he did not like it. He was uncomfortable. And then
And
they
he
went and
didn't
showed
expect
it
her
again.
to do it. He
Yes.
said, and then remember at the reunion, he was sitting there like very uncomfortable watching that.
Yes. He really
So
was.
there is some weight to this, and
Yes.
he should have
Yes.
stayed there.
But his issue is that he felt that him and Shelley was the most popular, but they played to a narrative
Mhm.
of Nick and Alondria, and he is jealous or mad about that. And
That.
instead of him putting his energy into that, he got jealous of Nick and he was mad at Nick. He's mad at Nick because Nick did not stand up and say that they did X, Y, and Z. Nick did not say that because he too is under an NDA.
Hmm.
He too is under an NDA. So he seemed like he didn't know what to say. And whatever he said, they cut it out.
Yeah.
They didn't even show whatever he
And
said.
that was confirmed by other cast members.
Yes. So Jeremiah said this. Now Jeremiah know nothing about them. He said, I love Nick and I love Alondria separately. He said, but when I seen them together, like they are so in love. Like he was like, woo, you know what I mean? They're so cute. He spoke to just seeing them. So with Ace saying that he don't they a fake couple, I don't buy it. I feel like he's angry because Nick didn't show up for him.
Mhm.
And that's where all this anger is
Two things
towards.
real quick. One thing I want to
Yeah,
say about Jeremiah. Jeremiah made a post. He said, I don't know where Ace is getting this from, but he said, but Nick is my friend. I'm not in no group chat
yeah,
dragging Nick. He wanted to make
right,
that very clear. He said, when
right,
that group chat, we don't talk about it's not like that. We don't talk about him.
right.
I don't know what Ace is talking about. Second, Ace, like everybody in Love Island, because here's the thing. In that villa, everybody was saying they thought that it was going to be Shelly and Ace.
Right.
Everybody thought that Shelly and Ace were going to be the stars of the
And they
season.
was going to win the money. Yes.
Nobody thought that Nick and
Uh,
Alandria were going to be bigger than the program.
mm-hmm.
So this is just not on Ace. All of them, in my opinion, except for Shelly, who hasn't shown me anything, that she is jealous of Alandria.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, except for Shelly, in my opinion, are jealous that it was Nick and Alandria and not them.
And Ace wanted to, he was alluding to the fact that the producers made this couple. That's why it's
Yeah.
fake.
Yep.
Now,
Because he
it's a
said
little,
all of a sudden they get eliminated,
yes,
then they come back, and
yes.
I have to do film scenes. I'm forced to film scenes talking about how I saw this relationship from the beginning.
Now, it's a little truth to that. Because even I was like, wait a minute. She done pulled up in a G-Wagon and said, Nick, come on. And she picked Nick up. And then they go to a secluded place where the cats don't even know they're at. Then they sneak back in the villa because there was already hype. Nick's parents, like his mother and his sister, was rooting for them. We was all rooting for Nick and Alondria. So they did bring, I believe the producers did bring them back. And did, but I
Mhm.
don't think that nobody knew they were going to be this big. Because Alandria and Nick even said it. We did not know what was going on outside, so we didn't even know that it was a phenomenon. They did not know. And that's where I think Ace's problem is at. That they were much bigger than him and Shelly, and he couldn't handle that. I don't believe that they are not together. I don't believe that. I believe they're together, but I listen to Nick every time he speaks. He says, we are just new out of the villa and we did not put a name on it yet. We're just exploring each other. But they are each other's person. When Alandria was on her live, they're like just two little new kids in love. When Alandria was on her live, she said, my man, and he said, oh, I mean Nick. And when Nick was on Nick Cannon's podcast, he was saying that Alandria was his. He said, "Oh no, I'll take that back. I'm not saying that. Whatever is
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on."
yeah.
Yeah, he said, "Oh no, I ain't saying that. I ain't saying that." Then they was on another podcast that I just seen, and the girl was asking her about. I thought you said you wanted a cowboy. He said she got one. So I believe they're exploring each other, and they don't want to say that they're together right away because it's pressure. We want them to be together. And I think they're taking their time. Like she said, I'm not moving in with Nick. Nick got to put a ring on this. But I'm not saying I'm not going to spend a lot of time at his place and he's not going to spend a lot of time at my place. They're having sex. Come on here. They are having sex. And what happened was Nick was on live and he didn't even realize that Alandria was in the bathroom with him and her bra was right there. He and then he was on it. He said, well, when Alandria pulled it, Nick was not he was just talking. He said, well, Alandria pulled it, and she was like, oh, my mom gonna see this. Like they're exploring each other and they're more than they're not a fake couple. They're together. And he loves her. And and then they said, who said I love you first? He said she did. And she was like, they're together. And Ace don't want to accept it because he's bruised. Now, everybody's feelings get hurt, but his feelings was um he was punched in the chest with this one because he just knew it was him and Shelly. And they did not win. They got booted off and he's mad because he know what happened because he was there. He knows how the network get together and the producers get together and get somebody off of the show. So that's what he's mad at. And he's mad at Nick because Nick was supposed to be his boy and Nick never got up and said they put him off the
Yeah.
show, and he never said what he wanted him to
He never said in public what he said in private.
have respect. And what happened was Nick was
Wait,
and
mom,
didn't realize that.
mom, something's going on with your audio. I'm gonna remove you and bring you back. Ma, your audio was separating, so I removed you. Come back. Oh gosh. I'm gonna let my mom come back and I'm gonna let her finish my statement. Then I'm gonna get into the super chats, and then we'll get into the rest of the commentary. But I vehemently agree with Mama Star and a lot of the comments that you guys posted here. This is very unfortunate. Mama Star is back.
Okay, so I believe Ace. I really, really do. The accusations that he is making about the show and how they did and how they portrayed these black people, I believe him. But what I can't stand with him with is his jealous. He's jealous of Nick and Alandria's fame, and they probably didn't even figure. He know that the producers put them together, but they put them together and now it's working. He knows that they got rid of Sierra so that they could be able to explore each other. Alandria said, I was taking it slow and I'm a slow burner. She said it. She said, because I wanted to make sure I'm not a fetish.
Yep.
Because a lot of white men like black women, but not to be their wife. They like to be a fetish. And I was glad that she pointed that out. So she said, I'm not rushing. I wanted to make sure that I was what he wanted. I was wife material. That's what she was saying. And what probably made her think that is that he was sucking her feet. And she was like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And she wanted to make sure that he wasn't just this 24-year-old hot white boy that just was, he getting it. He in his youth and he just getting it. He's sexing it. She wanted to make sure that. So she was taking her time with him, as I believe he was taking his time with her. And he went on the show. I don't know if he was really looking for love or he was just young. I'm going on the show or whatever. But she said that she wanted to try at love and she went on the show. Um, the show ratings went up because of them and the show played into them. And Shelly and Ace was good, but the show wasn't playing uh, all of America. I can say all of America wasn't rooting for them. They was rooting for this other couple and they made it happen. They put it together for ratings and all of that. But then it took off. Fell in love with him and he fell in love with her, or they fell in love with the idea of exploring each other. And
And
when
for the
their
moment,
parents,
what's
yeah,
happening? Like,
and when their parents gave their approval, they was locked in. Yes. So I I watched it and I was just like, Ace, you shooting yourself in the foot. Like, I can rock with you with all that other stuff, but bro, you going against your family.
yeah.
Like, y'all could have took care of this off camera. To me, you, Ace, Taylor, and Nick could have took care of that off camera. You didn't have to bring that out like that. Now you just you shut up the whole place. You made the whole house hot. Also, Taylor was lying. This wasn't the first time that he heard the interview because he said he talked to Ace.
Exactly. Oh, he knew this.
He knew about it. He came on publicity or
Taylor
to
came
get
on to get money.
ratings. He
He came
came
on to
on
get money because he
to
was
see
already
what
asking people
people
to
he
send him
came on
money.
to see what people were saying.
Hmm.
He talked to Ace. He said, well, I talked to Ace. Ace and Nick is not friends. Now he mad at what he did, but they not friends. Okay, so that means you talked to him. That means you knew what was going down. So for you to come on here and say, I'm going to listen to this with you, and then at a part, he was just getting too much and he had to hang up.
Hmm.
Remember that part? That he
Yeah.
disconnected the live and came back on because somebody called him and said, yo, 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 yo. And he came back and then he was playing the music and he was this and he was that and he was this and he was that.
And all
He
of a
was
sudden, he
just
wasn't listening anymore.
he wasn't listening anymore. He was listening very tentatively at first, and then he wasn't listening. He was playing music. Oh, wifey is saying something. And when wifey is saying something, I gotta listen to wifey. He just the second time he came on, he just was oblivious. He just was joking around and all of this. And hey, y'all, I gotta get ready to go, and this and that and that and this. That was the whole thing that was going down. So Taylor knew about this as well. And I'm sure that Nick talked to that Taylor talked to Nick and Taylor talked to Ace before Ace went on. I'm sure because he kept saying they
Now Taylor's in the middle
huh.
because now Taylor's in the middle.
Right. So he kept saying that he's mad at him for this, but they may not as be as close as they was, but they're still friends. How you get that? How you get that if you ain't talked to nobody? If you don't know nothing about this interview, you know something.
Yeah.
So listen, it's unfortunate
Yeah.
that this black man came on here because Ace is very smart.
Yeah.
He's a wise young man, but it's unfortunate what he did because he didn't realize the ramifications of what he would do
Mhm.
would come back to bite him in the behind for him, his girlfriend,
Mhm.
and his sister, if you will. He didn't realize what was going to happen because one thing for certain and two things for sure, Nick is going to protect Alandria. He's going to protect her. From whatever Ace put out there, he's going to come and clean it up. So that's what Mama Star had to say. It hurt me to my core because I did not appreciate Ace
You were just
blowing
fighting
up the
for him.
spot.
We were so proud of him.
Yes, I was so proud of him. And then for him to do that, will I forgive him? Yes. But I think he needs to fix this.
Yeah.
Wow. I think he needs to fix it as far as Alandria is concerned. Also, he's going to talk about their fate, but he didn't even claim Shelly. He said, "No, she's not my girlfriend yet."
This is what
So
he was doing
okay,
the
it's the
whole
same
season.
thing.
He was minding other people's relationships and not the
Yes,
ones that he was in. And that's his problem. Let me
that's
get
his
into the
problem.
super chats.
Okay.
First off, we got Kimberly. Oh, where's my clicker? Hold on. Where's my
Yeah, where's your clicker? All that time you had me on pause. Where's your clicker?
girl? All you did was say what I already said. Please.
That's
Uh,
right.
thank you, Kimberly, for the super sticker.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Um, obviously, me said, don't trust light skin with waves, Nikki. Oh my god.
Okay.
Thank you, obviously me.
What did
Um,
nobody say?
Nala said, I'm bewildered and taken aback, low key hurt. I feel you. Me too. Thank you for the super chat. Brown Girl 44, thank you for the super chat. Brown Girl 44 said, I will never forgive Ace for this. He was determined to ruin Nicolandria. He is exactly who we originally thought he was. I said, why would you prove production in Austin right? And that's the thing. That's why I keep on saying the frontal lobe is important because that common sense was not there. This was not a smart decision.
No, it
Obviously, thank
wasn't.
you for the super chat. Obviously, me said, it's an insane timeline when Austin, Charlie, Nick, and even Vanna, it was cut from the reunion, are better defenders of Black women. It's sad. It's really, really sad. Captain for Creativity, thank you for the super chat. Captain for Creativity said, you were so right, Nikki. I just posted a video about that, why that interview was not wise. I still love Ace, so I hope he matures and realizes that there are better ways to balance truth and kindness. Absolutely. And I'm disappointed in him. I have to give him grace because of his age. It's like, I know people are like, oh, it's not valid. It really, really is. This is what a 23-year-old would do. The frontal lobe is important, and we have to be honest about that. He's going to get his lashings. He's probably getting his lashes from Shelly right now. He's probably getting his lashes from Shelly right now because he says that she gets him together. But this was not smart. This was Ace's ego, and this was jealousy interfering. And, he should have sat down and talked to somebody older and wiser or somebody seasoned in this industry before he blew it all up for everybody.
Well, I think he did. And I think he initially, when he was coming off, he came off correctly because I believe he has legal counsel and he's being legally advised. But what he shouldn't have added was the Nick and Alandria thing.
Yeah,
He
that's the only
shouldn't
thing.
have added that.
No. I don't
He-
think that. He should have left Alandria out of it. His
Right.
issue with Nick, I think, is valid.
Okay.
I think it's valid to a point. I think it's valid to say, hey, white
Stand up for
friend
me.
with influence, this is happening to me. You were there. You have influence to change the narrative.
Right.
Please say something about that. Now, I will give him that. But if his issue is that Nick didn't say that they should be in the Final Four, well, you didn't say it either. You didn't say that him and Alandria should have been in the Final Four. So what are you mad at him about? That's the only thing. Because I had an issue with Big Belgian with that. I was just like, you see this racism going on with your
Yeah.
friends. You need to
Yeah.
say something.
You need to say
He
something.
should have
That's
been
and
said
you did
something.
have an issue with him for
That
that.
I spoke on it because I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
He should
Mm-hmm.
have been said something. You lying up with that woman, shedding the tear, but you're not going on your platform where you're getting millions of views and
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
absolutely not. You're in
Mm-hmm.
a live where people are calling her a chimp and you're not addressing it.
Yeah.
You got to stand up for her. And that's the thing. You know, love is love and all of this stuff, but a lot of these
But no, I'm
hold
gonna
on,
walk you back.
hold on. A lot of people who get in these relationships with people from different cultures do not think about the amount of work you are going to have to do in that relationship because you are going to be in a relationship with somebody who has a completely different culture and a completely
Mm-hmm.
different world view. Y'all are going to have to work on that relationship, especially if you are a Black woman going into a relationship with a non-Black man, especially a white man.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to have to sit down with that man and unfortunately teach him how to love and protect you. And if
Well,
you don't want to do that work, don't get with a white
don't
man.
get it. That's right. Well, I will say this. Now, Nick has been um standing up for her in certain
Absolutely.
and when she's being attacked. I.e., when they first came back, he was like, "Well, Alandria's having a difficult time getting used to all of this.
Mhm.
That's my shy girl, and I'm protecting her." And when people would say something, he would comfort them on that. Um, I didn't know that it was I didn't know that it was this bad. I really didn't because I didn't know about the George Floyd or whatever. I didn't know about that. However, what I will say is he should have been cut Huda off. It when because Elandria said, I told you when we were in Fiji to send a post and you still didn't never send a post. And
Yeah.
I just felt like at that point, when she cut him off, he should have cut her off and
Yeah.
made it public why he cut her
He
off.
should have cut her off. And he also, I said, I don't like to defend him. The always trying to see her side. That was my problem.
Hmm.
But I also have to
Hmm.
say this. Something is going on with these relationships that are very
Yeah.
weird. That are
Yeah.
very, very weird. And I'm gonna get back into the super chats, but I want to share this because I'm just like, what is happening here? And we will talk about this together, Star Family. So Mama Star, who is chronically online, sent me this video, and this video is of Alandria and Nick at the reunion interacting
Yeah.
with Huda.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you this. So in that video, you see Alandria and Huda high-fiving each other. And then you see Huda and Nick having a handshake. Now, a lot of stuff has happened since they filmed the reunion, so things might be a lot different now. I will say that gave me a bit of pause because at that same reunion, Alandria was crying about what Huda did to her. And here is the lifeline that I'm going to give them. At the reunions, everybody is always a little weird, a little off because you don't know what's going to be said. So at these reunions, what I know from these housewives reunions, you can start off as besties and end up as enemies at the end because they were there for 12 hours filming this. So a lot could have changed from when they entered this studio to when they left. So I will give grace there, but I will say to have a handshake with Huda, or even if you had a handshake, that's fine because they've been together for a long time. But to be interacting with her that way at this point, after everything that's happened at the beginning, to the point where you were filming this reunion, is a little weird. I gotta be honest there. And it gives weight to people who are saying that this relationship is not real. And let me say this: if Nick and Alandria are scamming, I do not care. I have always been team let these black women get money. So my issue with Ace is, even if you knew that this relationship was fake, which I don't believe that, I think he's just bitter and just saying mean things. But even if this is true, why are you stopping her money? If
Right.
she's your dog,
Right.
why are you stopping
Let her eat
her
some
bag
food. Let her eat
by,
some food.
by
Yeah.
invalidating her relationship and giving room to the hood haters, to the hoodlums who have been attacking this woman and giving weight to a conversation that invalidates her desirability? That's my issue. He moved foul. He
And
moved
then
foul.
Alandria also said in a podcast from the Hamptons that she loved his family. His mother is making sure that she gets a couple of brand deals. Like the mother is, because the mother is a model, so
Yeah,
she's contacting her contacts to make sure that Alandria is working. And she said that Nick is making sure that
yeah. Even if
she
it's
said,
not real, the boy is
yeah,
looking out for her and making sure she eat.
that's right.
Why are you messing up her bag?
That's right.
Let me get back to the super chats.
Okay.
Um, obviously me said, thank you for super chat. Obviously me said, Ace also petty for having beef with Austin, because let's be honest, he mad because Austin was genuinely into Shelly. That love triangle had real beef. Now, obviously me, I be with you. I don't believe that Austin was into Shelly. I believe that Austin was just trying to stay on the show. I do not believe that Austin was into Shelly. I think that Austin was doing the same thing that Taylor was doing, messing around with any girl in the villa until his type showed up. I don't think he was there for love. I think he was there just to stay on the show. Thank you for the super chat. Zora, thank you for the super chat. Zora said, as a person from the industry, can you go into detail about what comes next for Ace if it goes well and if it goes bad? If it goes well, Ace will be paid handsomely
Yeah.
by NBC Universal. If it
Yeah.
goes well. If it goes well, because if what he's saying is true, there's no way they're going to take this to trial. There's no way. If he is gearing up for a lawsuit, there's no way they're going to take it to trial. They are going to settle, and Ace is going to be paid handsomely.
Because they're going to want to quiet this up because the
Absolutely.
NAACP is involved. And next,
Absolutely.
after the NAACP is involved, Ben Crump comes. And it's,
Absolutely.
and it's all over the place.
Absolutely. Because he's on retainer for the NAACP. Now,
Yeah.
if Ben Crump and NAACP is already involved, if this becomes racism and
Sexual harassment.
this becomes a much huger problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
This changes reality TV for good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
it goes in his favor, he may not work in this industry again. Because I'm like, you want to be an actor, he may not work in this industry again. But with the money he's going to receive,
He ain't going to need to.
he won't need to. Now, how it can go bad for him is if all of his claims cannot be proven. Not only will he burn himself in this industry, he will be in violate. He's already in violation of his NDA, and he will have to pay back a hefty amount to this show. And I don't think the show will sue him because it just won't look good for
Mm-hmm.
them. But he has violated his contract. And additionally, how it could go bad for him is that he can mess up his name with brands. He can mess up Shelly's name with brands because that Crown Royal sponsored post Shelly is being dragged under that. Every sponsored post with Crown Royal, she's being dragged under that. That doesn't look good for the brand. The brand doesn't want to be in that kind of controversy. That doesn't look good. So how this could go bad is he could have messed up his money, Shelly's money, and Alandria's money. Nick is white. He will be all right.
But it's highly unlikely because for him to speak and stand 10 toes down like that, and for him to say, because if I watched, he said, this is my first and only interview. and he was specific on a few things that he said, and those are heavy hitters with what he said.
Heavy hitters
Heavy
that
hitters.
he better have proof of,
Mm-hmm.
because now you done put that out there. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
up to the FCC.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's up to the FCC to investigate.
Yeah. Well, he said I did not want to stand there with Huda. And I let her know that. And it was very evident.
This is a huge problem. If
Yes.
the FCC and the NAACP get involved, we can say goodbye to Love Island USA.
Period.
It might just be a UK show, a
Mm-hmm.
European show.
Mm-hmm. And let
Um,
me tell you one thing, they got big money this season and last season, but
mhm.
they have two big things against them. Is that boy said that he don't want to be with no black women and all that.
Yeah.
They're going to really come after the show for racism.
Mhm.
This is two different shows, two
And
different
we're not saying that this is
incidents.
going to happen. I'm just saying from what he did, these
Yeah,
things could hypothetically, these
yeah,
things could happen.
yeah.
ME, thank you for the super chat. Emmy said exactly. Ace can feel how he feels, but his reaction to being mad at Nick had harmful intent, which not
Mm-hmm,
only impacted Nick, but did more harm to Shelly and Alandria.
mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Ace showed his immaturity and bruised ego. I absolutely agree.
I agree with
Emmy,
that.
thank you for another super chat. ME said Ace knew that him mentioning the convo that we all saw in the villa would place doubt with the public. Very sinister. Ace was very intentional with his action. His actions were very dangerous, and he didn't think it through. I agree. So, Lise, thank you for the super chat. So, Lise said, just showing some love because we came in for love and got some mess.
Okay.
Absolutely. Mel, thank you for the super chat. Mel says Shalandria possibly being over because of this is what hurts me the most. Absolutely. Because here is the thing, and our heart breaks for the both of them. Alandria just cannot be in a relationship with Shelly right now. Ace got to do some huge damage control, because what he has done, he has put Alandria in harm's way, and it's the best thing for her to remove herself from
Yeah,
everybody that is causing
yeah.
harm. And if Shelly is still connected to this young man, then that's just
You
going to be
gotta go too.
going down
Yep.
the way. Make it happens. It
Unless,
happens.
unless he come out again publicly and
Unless they fix it.
apologize. Yeah.
Unless they fix it. I mean, he can fix it with the core four.
Mm-hmm.
He can't fix it with Love Island. He has
Right. No, I'm
violated.
talking about with the core four.
Yeah.
If
Ace
they
is
all have a
violated.
meeting
Ace
and
has
he say,
burned himself working
yeah,
with NBC. And this is the thing, I will say this, as an actor, I saw that Ace had talent. And remember, we talked, I said, oh, he's going to be the most successful out of
mm-hmm,
all of them
mm-hmm.
because of
I
how
seen him on Wild 'N Out. I seen him on so many
he
things.
threw everything away with his bruised ego. If he
Mm-hmm,
would have
mm-hmm,
played his cards right, he could have been on a sitcom on NBC. Now he done burnt himself with that network. And now other networks are watching how he moves.
mm-hmm,
They're not going to want to work with him. You have to realize that you have to put up a good front so that
mm-hmm,
everybody who is seeing your work wants to work with you.
mm-hmm,
He's showing that this ego supersedes his work ethic and that he doesn't make wise decisions. He
mm-hmm,
has showed that he is a liability. He burnt everything.
mm-hmm.
Ace had the trajectory of becoming the most successful Love Island contestant.
Breakout star, yeah.
His ego, his
And I'm gonna tell you another
ego
dangerous
messed up
thing.
every opportunity for him.
I'm gonna tell you another dangerous thing he better watch out for. NBC may settle with him and give him all this money and this and that and offer him a job just to take him down, just to catch him slipping and take him
No,
down.
I won't say that.
I will say that.
I won't say that. And you shouldn't say that. Okay?
Allegedly.
No, mom. No, at all.
Okay. I
Okay?
take it back. Yeah.
Thank you. Renee, thank you for the super chat. Renee said, love you, Nikki and Mama Star. Thank you for joining. And if you didn't hit the like button, hit it on your way in. Much love for your support. Thank you so much, Renee. Effie, thank you for the super chat. Effie said, Ace was wrong, point blank, period. So disappointed. I agree. Christina, thank you for the super chat. Christina said, Mr. Stand on Business. Oh, Christina, thank you for the super chat. Effie, I don't know if I gave you this, but thank you. Christina said, Mr. Stand on Business waited until now to air this out about people he claims to care about. It's ridiculous. None of it makes sense. I want to get this comment from Bart Meets World because I wanted to speak on this. Bart Meets World said, did y'all see Speedy's follow-up clip where he indirectly claimed to have received additional info on the validity of NikkiNicoleStar? I did not see that. If you guys have that clip, please share it with me on Instagram or TikTok. I will download it and we will discuss it here. Thank you so much, Bart Meets World. Jude's said, even if they are scamming, you are messing up a Black woman's bag and embarrassing her publicly. That is my only issue with this. It was unnecessary. Eva, thank you for the super chat. Not super chat, but Eva, thank you for this comment. Eva said, it was a hit job. Crown Royal sponsored Shelly's birthday party, Ace's interview, and Taylor's live. Here is the thing. How are y'all connecting the dots to that? Why would Crown Royal want to take down NikkiNicoleStar? Like, I'm honestly asking. I can't. I'm not putting it together. So if somebody can explain it to me, please let me know, because I don't know why Crown Royal will put a mark. I don't know. Will put a hit out for them. And people are saying that in the chat. So I just want to know how you guys put that together. Jimmy said, Alandria has repeatedly said one of her concerns with dating a white man is being fetishized or him not taking her seriously. So to even put that out publicly, that it was fake, is a huge betrayal from Ace. Absolutely. To not only put that out after she said that, to also put that out when the Love Island community is dealing with a non-Black man who led on a Black woman that he was in a relationship with because he wanted to build off the popularity of their relationship. He never wanted her and he was a racist. So to put out that, to invalidate that relationship and her desirability was not something a friend would do, in my opinion. Mom, are you falling asleep?
No, I'm not.
Mom, you got to open your eyes. Please, or put your glasses on. AI said Ace was also on the Zoom type thing with Shelly in January of 2024 before Shelly's last birthday when they said they actually met. The reason why I wanted to highlight this comment is because I keep on seeing it. And people are sending it to me. And guys, I'm telling you, I do not think that Ace and Shelly were scamming. And I also do not want to give validity to this, because this is a rumor that Steph with the Deets started. And Steph with the Deets has been extremely anti-Black to these Islanders. And I do not want to validate someone who basically started the hate train against the Black contestants on Love Island. So I don't want to give weight to this for that reason, and also because there's no way that Ace and Shelly could have scammed this show. I'm telling you, it is absolutely impossible. The issue is Love Island cast influencers this season. They all know each other. Jeremiah is connected to several people on the season. You cannot cast influencers who are based in LA or even New York, because these people are in the same community. So they're all going to know each other. I don't think that they were scamming. I don't think it would have been possible. I wanted to highlight this comment from El Tavina, who said, but what if Ace is saying it's true? I feel like Nick would do something like that. I'm sorry, but I don't trust any man. But I do feel for Ola if that's the case, but she needs a man possibly older. If what Ace is saying is true, fine. My issue is not if it's true or not. My issue is he could have told her in private. He didn't even tell her. He told Speedy, a guy who has been saying that he thought that relationship was fake. You never told your dog. You never told your friend what you thought. Twice, according to Ace, he watched men lead Alandria on who did not want to be with her, but was using her to either stay in the villa or for popularity. He watched men do this to his friend twice and still has yet to tell her. What does that say about him?
And he said he was raised by a single mom.
Child. A Wonderful Life said at NikkiStar TV, Speedy has a clip saying in this live live saying that there is more info. Please send it to me, y'all. Let me know when you sent it to me. I do want to talk on that. We got another super chat from Priya. Thank you for the super chat. Priya said, notice split CPLS and Nick unfollowed day of the reunion. Huh, Priya, write that again. Effie, thank you for the super chat. Effie said, Ace's pride won't allow him to apologize. I'm so sad for Shalandria. Also, Ace and Hulu ruined this season with their ego. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Let me make sure I got all my super chats. I got them. Now I'm going to hop
I
back.
am.
Mom, huh? Just John said, Andy Cohen is somewhere like, don't call me for those kids again. Oh, I know he's done. He's done. See, I told his old behind to sit this out. He didn't tapped his foot in the water with them kids, and now look what's going on. Black Healer said, y'all had me stressed in here, but I refuse to give Bishop grace. I know that production has always been the devil, but being the devil's advocate, come on, is just as treacherous. I also want to address this. I don't think we should blame a woman for the actions of a man that she is with. Blame her if she continues to stay with him and he doesn't apologize or does anything to fix it. But as of right now, she hasn't done anything, so she should not be she hasn't done anything. So I don't think that she deserves to be mistreated or abandoned by her community that's been rocking with her this whole time. We don't have any proof that she's done anything. Ace gave us a lot of proof. This is not on Shelly. This is on him. Cordelia said, I was a bit shocked about what he said about Nick. Me too. Other than the fact that he felt some sort of way that Nick didn't protect him. Because I could agree with that. Nick, everybody says Nick can do more and he should do more because of his privilege. He can go above and beyond because he will be protected. What's his purpose said? I don't think Ace has a team. He is running solo, and that is the problem. Shiva Baby Talk said, NikkiNicoleStar are my only clients. Ciao. Eleanor said, well, do we really need a season 8? Throw this whole season and show away. Ciao. I don't think we're going to get it. I don't think we're going to get it. Mama Star, are you still with us?
Yeah, she's just reading the comments. She's there.
Because your energy has shifted.
Yeah, I mean, you have just emasculated me.
I knew you were going to say that. Mom, this is why you need to read the chat, our chat, because I
don't have my glasses.
Well, get your glasses, because I have to make sure
I lost them.
You don't put your daughters who work in this industry in a really bad position.
And I didn't, but
you
we
did.
Can talk later.
You did. Yeah, we can talk. We can debrief.
Mm-hmm.
We got another super chat from Elise. Thank you, Elise, for the super chat. Elise said, Andy was very kind to him, LOL. He probably was easy on them because he saw everyone on that stage as kids, including Ariana. He was. Andy was. He really, really was. And I don't think the kids realized that he could have been meaner. He could have been meaner. Mama Star, we're going to take you down until you fix your attitude. Okay? Thank you. We got to put her on timeout, child. Alana says, same, Nikki. That's my only issue also. Absolutely. My mom is cussing. Y'all can't see her, but my mom is cussing me out to my sister right now. I can still hear you. That's my only issue with him. Megan K said, all this because his feelings got hurt. Ace, please. Yeah, it's ego. It is absolute ego. Eleanor said, well, wait, I got that one. Justamina said, Taylor's live was insane. I'm still not over him saying, have you answered every question in your life as a defense for a man not answering questions in an interview? Taylor's going to protect his friend, right? He is always going to protect his friend. I don't think that he is a friend to Nick. I don't. Nas B says, speaking of hate, it's Taylor on his live talking about how him and Ace are the most hated. Like, did he forget that Alandria and Shelly exist? Main character syndrome really clouds people's vision. I think it's because Taylor and Ace do not want to admit that they are jealous, that they are jealous of what these Black women are getting. Because I also think that the hate that Nick is getting is because they really can't say that they got an issue with the women. They can't say that. They can't say that they can't believe that everybody, because even Ace said it, I got out and it's Nick and Landria. They can't say that. They can't say that, oh, these girls are getting what we thought that we should have received. They can't say that, but their actions show it. Their actions show it, because nobody thought that it was going to be Nick and Alandria. And this is what we are dealing with now with this fan base. Nobody thought that. Not even the Islanders. And because it's Nick and Alandria, everybody is showing their true colors. And this is why Nick and Alandria need to get away from all of them. They need to separate themselves from Love Island and move forward. I don't want neither one of them to respond to anything at all. The Whitney edit said, also Speedy also put further distrust in Black media. This Nick Cannon, Kiki, yeah, we got to do better. Here's the thing. I'm always going to give Kiki a pass because she did these interviews when they came right out of the villa. We also have to realize, guys, these people are not going to, the way that Ace is talking is because he wants a legal problem, in my opinion. However, in a year, when this contract expires, it's going to be a different conversation for everybody involved. We got another super chat from Priya. Thank you so much, Priya, for the super chat. Priya said, split couples waited to unfollow till the day of the reunion. Oh, thank you. Split couples waited to unfollow till the day of the reunion aired, even with cheat rumors. I was big mad Nick still followed H, but they may all have had to wait. Yeah, the contract for the relationship ended at the reunion. Now they just can't talk about the show. So what Ace did was a complete violation of his contract. I want to see how he's going to get out of that. JCC, thank you for the super chat. JCC said, I sent the Speedy video to you on Instagram DM. I also think it's very odd to joke about Nick has an STD on the podcast. It is a bit weird. I absolutely agree. Let me check my Instagram. Ciao. Hold on.
And while you are absolutely entitled to have your opinion on that, I do want to say that some people may have more information than you have. They may know things that you don't know. They may be aware of things that transpired that you don't know. They may have seen and witnessed things that you have not seen. That's it. That's all I want to say. So you may see somebody say, or you may see somebody have an opinion on a relationship. I would just say maybe, just maybe, they know something that you don't. Because if what I was told off camera is true,
here's the thing. Everybody is just moving so foolish. And thank you, JCC, for the super chat. Everybody is moving so foolish. That was completely irresponsible of Speedy to do that as a journalist. You went from a journalist to some gossip blogger. Why would you even risk your reputation by jumping into this nonsense? You should have did that interview and let it be and not comment on it and let it just get numbers for you. Now you have proven yourself to be messy. Who is going to want to sit down with this messy guy now? You had respect as a journalist. Now you're just like, oh, I know some things that you don't know. I didn't heard some things. If you're a journalist, cite your sources. Cite your sources. You're coming out here happy. He was mad gleeful in this live to say that this relationship isn't real. What do you gain from that? I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see a major shift in a lot of Black men, and it's going to be very sad to see. Black men are going out of style, and they are going out of style with non-Black women who fetish them for their BBC and for their influence, because the Kardashians created a narrative that a Black man could make you a billionaire. All you got to do is not be a Black woman. So a lot of these non-Black women ran to these Black men, enslaved themselves to these Black men, hoping that they could get the Kardashian come up. Now they have been left as baby mamas and become the face of baby mamas in America to Black children they don't want and they don't want to raise. Now that these women did not get that come up, they just got left to raise a Black child. Now they're reverting back. Now they're going back to being white again. Now they're going back to being Asian again. Now they're going back to being Latina, because they didn't get the Kardashian come up that they thought that they would have gotten, because they applied the same Kardashian formula, and whatever was in their potion, they didn't have the correct motion. So they didn't get those results. So now that these women see that these men are not giving them the Kardashian come up, they're running back to their community with these non-Black kids in tow, because that Black man that they got was not who they thought that he was going to be. And now that these women are no longer desiring them, and now that the narrative is changing, because it's been in conversations for a minute that successful white men and Black women are the best match for success, right? Black men, the marriages with interracial marriages with where the husband is white and the woman is Black are the most successful out of all interracial relationships. It has been this conversation. So now that the popularity or the trend now is going to be Black women and white men, now that those relationships are going to be popular, because you're going to see people, we're already seeing it. You're going to see people try to recreate the Nicolandria effect. And now that they are no longer going to be in trend, you are going to see a lot of Black men go into their Regina George era, because Speedy was happy, glee, just smiling that he has some insider tea that this relationship wasn't fake. Why do you care so much? Because you do not want to be out of trend. That's all this is. And you're going to see this from a lot of Black men. And it's not all Black men. It won't be every Black man, but it is Black men who hold themselves to a higher standard, or value themselves on a higher plane than everybody else, because they have been the desire of non-Black women. Now that they're no longer popular and no longer on trend, now they're coming out with we experience colorism too. They grasping at straws now. Because what is about to be popular? Dark-skinned baddies and white men. That's what's happening here. And we're going to see it more because of how wealthy NikkiNicoleStar have made NBC. And that's all this is. Jealousy. Jealousy. We got another super chat from Mel. Thank you for the super chat. Mel said if Ace didn't play with Shelly in the beginning, they would. If Ace didn't play with Shelly in the beginning, they would be as big as NikkiNicoleStar. That part is on Ace. Absolutely. Ace not being successful after this or during this is because of him. Yes, he got a bad edit. All the black people on the show got a bad edit. We can agree on that. But you made these decisions. Now, if you were influenced to make those decisions, then you better say that in a lawsuit. You better say that in the lawsuit. Earth Angel, thank you for the super chat. Earth Angel said, allegedly Ace told Speedy, Nick. Oh, okay. Be who you are for your pride, but let's. We the only people we pulling out the closet is Republicans. Emmy, thank you for the super chat. Emmy said the thing about the extra footage from Speedy is corny to me because they did a whole interview and could have said whatever. Exactly. How are you a journalist and you're not citing your sources? That whatever they are alluding to, all they are trying to do is fuel more doubt, and that is exactly what's happening. Earth Angel, thank you for the super chat. Earth Angel said, I unfollowed Speedy today. All black women should. He's not a safe space. He has proved that today. Eleanor said, I don't know if it's clout or ego, but it's definitely a bad look. Absolutely. Nas B said also Ace leaning into implying that anyone had herpes when the cast members have said repeatedly that they get tested frequently and that no one got sick at all this season. He's opening up an entire case. He better be ready. He better be ready. Remember, this is the same Ace that wanted to get rid of Alandria so that he could bring Coco back to have Shelly shaking in her boots. You see what happens when you're messy, Ace? Everybody was trying to move on from how you moved in the villa. And now we got to bring up why we disliked you in the beginning. Not smart. Art World said, wow, being that Speedy was on the Alandria hate train, why do a sit down? Take Nick out the equation because Alandria is your friend, right? Yep. Ace said, wasn't Ace a NikkiNicoleStar supporter and now you are not for it? All because Nick said the top 4 deserved to be there? Ego. It's a mess. It is a mess. Me too. Unless she gives me a reason, I don't have no issue with her. I'm still rooting for Shalandria. The Whitney edit said Ace moving at the expense of 2 black women is what is so disheartening to me. I agree. Black Healer said Ola has a team and she is a black woman who spoke about it at the Tuskegee homecoming. That's another thing. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Because if Ace is protecting his friend, right, that's why he said what he said. Here's how I know he's not a friend to Alandria. Because you do not think this 27-year-old black woman who is the eldest of her mother's children and who is a HBCU grad who was a computer science major and who was at the top of her game in elevator sales, right? Because she talked about, we're going to talk about the other podcast tomorrow, because this live was supposed to be about all the podcasts that the Islanders were on, but this mess just took up the whole thing, so I knew I had to do a separate one. But you mean to tell me that this lady don't know what she's doing or how she's moving? You mean to tell me that your 23-year-old behind know what's better for Alandria? More than Alandria? And you only been friends with her for 5 weeks? Her mother told told her that he was it. Her mother. You think you got more weight than her mother? This is not about Alandria. It's about Nick. And if he had to use Alandria to take Nick down, he was going to do it. He did not give a damn about his friend. He was being selfish. He only thought about him and how he felt. This is all because Nick didn't say that he deserved to be in the Final Four. Because if Nick would have said that he deserved to be there and not Shelly, Ace wouldn't have been mad. This is about Ace. Nasby said it's crazy that Speedy feels vindicated now because he had pivoted to frothing at the mouth over for a NikkiNicoleStar interview. Absolutely. Everybody switched up. Now that Speedy thinks that Ace destroyed NikkiNicoleStar's popularity, now he's switching up. But when he sees that that doesn't work, watch he be frothing at the mouth again to get an interview with them. I hope they pay him dust. Tia said hopefully he's not sued. He didn't say too many specific names, but unfortunately, he said these things while under contract. So he could be in some kind of trouble. And honestly, it's up to the FCC because if the FCC even sends a letter to NBC Universal, all hell gonna break loose. Brown Girl 44 says Speedy made it even worse. Did y'all see? Yeah, we just saw that. Princeton said the damage is done. I don't know how Ace can make up for this. Me either. Me either. Hannah said, I believe him when it comes to him saying that the producers gave them a villain edit. I do too. I do. Be yourself. I just wouldn't blame Shelly. What did she do? I'm not going to blame the woman for the actions of her man unless she stays. Mel Ron, because then that means that you agree with it. Mel said that was his petty side. He only picked Amaya to spite Shelly. And he acted like we didn't see that. And then immediately became cold to her. After you chose her. You wouldn't even talk to her. She's like, we need to talk. You chose me. Let's have a conversation. He didn't even want to talk to her. Yasmin said his friends are Taylor and Brian. So that tells us all we need to know. He's mad because he thought that he was the star of the show. Yep. NikkiNicoleStar needs to move away from all of them. Arcadis said, what I don't get is if he let himself be influenced by production for gameplay, why can't NikkiNicoleStar? The line keeps moving. A said two things can be true. He could be right on production, but he also wanted to be king. How is he blaming production for Taylor leading Ola, yet played the part in it? So you didn't have a problem doing it? Absolutely. Spency said, yeah, why would he choose her? I feel like he will say influencers. Yeah. Captain for Creativity said he meant to expose Nick, but he might take bread out of his homegirl, Alandria's mouth, but he didn't think things through before he spoke his interview. I agree. Princeton said, I wonder if he told Shelly any of this prior to the interview. If so, Shelly not dependent older would be messed up. If he did tell Shelly, that would be messed up. I don't think he did. I do not think he did. I think that Shelly was just as gagged as everybody else watching this. I think Shelly knew the stuff about Nick. I do not think that she thought that Ace was going to speak on her bestie's relationship. J.K. Knight said Amaya is reckless and weird in her own ways, but Ace played her straight up. Yeah, two things can be true. AI said, I'm starting to believe Ace and Shelly knew each other far more than they tried to tell us and crafted a narrative. I just don't think that they're scamming. Shanae said, producers can influence, but they can't force you to do anything. So Mr. Stand on Business has no backbone. Yep, but he's saying forced. That's why I'm just like, I hope you tell him the truth, young man. And this is why Love Island should have been 27 plus. I've been saying that. This is what happens when you play with them kids. Now, you got to clean up doo-doo on the playground. I've been said that this show, the youngest people should have been baby millennials or zennials. I've been said that. Y'all got these kids on here playing with y'all money. Paula Girl said, that's the thing though, NikkiStar. Ace pulled a dirty move on Amaya, and I'm not a Papaya fan. Never will be one again. Yeah. Tia B said the season 6 cast post of production trying to stir mess up. Maybe Ace is speaking about producers just too soon. He should have waited for that NDA to expire and for his brain to fully develop. This was dumb. This was dumb. We got another super chat from JCC 1219. Thank you for the super chat. JCC said Ace was totally fine with production meddling with Taylor and Melandria. If the OG plan was Taylor and Ola and Nick and Sierra top 3, if the OG plan was Taylor, Ola, and Nick and Sierra top 3 with Shalace winning. That I think that was his plan from the beginning. He did not plan to go or be eliminated. Leah said Ace being in such close proximity to NikkiNicoleStar and turning on them is in this way is weird. He only started having an issue when he got out the villa and realized they were bigger than the program. Yep. Spitzy said, Leah, I think, spoke about the situation better. She said the producers were telling me different things. She does. Now, that's the thing. I'm just like, there is something there, but he better be able to prove all of this. Mia said, for a guy who says no one can make him do anything, why didn't he say no to being forced into these influences? I thought he was a grown-a man that can make his own decisions. There you go. There you go. Hey, Cindy. Cindy said, I believe what Ace said. I just don't think it was smart of him to put it out there like that. I agree. Lots of us thought the production was leading the narrative and making sure the cast they wanted remained. Yes. Ace would have been the hero today had he worded this interview differently and left out Melandria. Paula Girl said, get it back to the original CBS. Bravo, NBCU is reckless, especially with people of color, talent, call Nene. I'm not going to put this on Bravo or NBCU. I will say playing with, this is the problem. Playing with a product, an international product, is very risky. Because ITV still has this show. ITV still calls the shots on this show. ITV is a UK company. They do things differently over there. The culture is very different to what it is over there. ITV can play with them black people like that over there in the UK. They can't do that here. That is why all these networks that take these shows, these international shows, y'all need to just buy them from the production companies and create your own show or some form of that show that fits the American culture. ITV still having their hands in this show is what got y'all in hot water, because they are running this show how they run it in the UK. And I hate to say it, but they can play with them black people over there. They cannot do that here. And that is where they messed up. They should have bought it off of them and made their own version. Arcada said, I can't believe Brian won 100K for not finding Amaya annoying for 2 weeks. Ciao. And if you leave it up to Ace, that's what the show wanted. Aaron Pepper Hay said, that's not true that everyone in the villa didn't think Ace was a ringleader. Multiple cast members have said yes. Who, Aaron? Austin? Austin, who couldn't even say that at the reunion because he was high out of his damn mind? Not credible. Jude said at the beginning of Casa, Ariana said everyone is returning to the villa. Oh, you're right. You're right about that. Gray said, even if it's fake, he wants to ruin Melandria's chances at getting her coin. What is the goal? Absolutely. I don't think, I will say this, I don't think that Ace meant that intentionally. I think he just didn't think this through. I think this interview was very impulsive. And he should have sat down with someone who is wiser and who has wisdom concerning this industry before he did this. Give Me Shelter said, I remember Ace and Shelly's face when they were all at Disney World. They looked annoyed that Nick and Melandria got the biggest cheers and security protection. I will have to disagree, Give Me Shelter. I thought that they were all, I remember when Nick kissed Melandria, Ace and Shelly were cheering it on. They all seemed very happy and coupled up. I don't know why he did this. Craig M. J. Bomb said, It's fair. It was fake for him to, like Shalace was probably together and producers decided anyways. If it's fair, it was fake for him to, like Shalace was probably together. I'm trying to read that correctly. Am I missing? Are we missing words? Let me know, Craig Baum. BB Girl said, I don't think the show will get sued. Ace broke the NDA and Peacock can't be this sloppy. Now I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know if this, where Peacock could be sloppy. I'm gonna tell you right now, these shows are sloppy. These shows are messy. There are a lot of people, a lot of contestants on these reality TV shows that should have been sued years ago. These shows are sloppy. I'm telling you, somebody who works in this industry, these shows are sloppy. They are not careful. They just bank on the contestants not being educated enough or having the wisdom or discernment to know that this is illegal, because these contestants are so happy to be on TV. They're not reading the laws. They're not reading their contract. They don't know that they're signing away their life for their intellectual property. These shows are sloppy. I won't say that Love Island is sloppy. I don't know about that. But I know that reality TV is very, 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 very messy. Devonda said, everybody's getting sued, especially Ace trying to imply Nick got the bumps and said that he ain't kissing them roaches. Yeah, I wouldn't have said the stuff he said. I'm like, you better be able to back that up. Megan says Speedy was trying to coax Ace into saying Nicolandria was fake, and by Ace not flat out disagreeing, he left the space for all this madness to ensue at Alandria's expense, all because he's mad at Nick. Yeah, that was my problem with him. Hey, Ryan. Ryan said, I don't think we should be saying he's lying, yo. Please be sensitive to stuff like that. As a woman, I've been through that. Yeah, if it's about how he felt when Huda did what she did, I want us to leave that alone. Tia B said, thanks, Nikki. Women have said the same words as Ace about the HRC. What's that? We saw how Chris was treated in the bedroom. Yeah, I don't want us to invalidate his experience because we don't like what he did. I don't want to do that. It's that Kimmy said, yes.
Excuse me, I have a note.
Yes.
Sometimes the network doesn't know what's happening with production. It's like, so somebody
come up. I don't think they can hear you. You're not on camera.
No, I'm telling you so you can repeat it.
No, I don't want to repeat it. Toya, come, just stand right here.
I don't want to be on camera.
You're not on camera.
Hey, Star fam, I just wanted to give a quick note that someone just made a comment and they said that, they said something about the network being messy. Sometimes the network is not informed of what productions are doing. So I think that we got to be very careful when we say, oh, networks know this. Sometimes they're finding out just like you are, and then they're questioning X, Y, and Z. That's why it's super important, to know which production companies you're linking up with. I also think something is very important is that when people are cast on these shows, they're just really excited to be on the show. Nobody is really reading contracts. And I think that we see it time and time again on all of these shows where people are just, signing and signing and signing away, but they have no idea if they're actually signing up for.
That's why I'm saying the shows are sloppy. The shows are reality TV is mad.
I would say unscripted. I would just say
production. Not the EPs, the executives at NBC, at Bravo, at Peacock, they are probably going nuts right now. Because they're finding out some stuff. They don't watch this show. They just watch the numbers.
Yeah.
So everybody is finding out a lot right now from this interview. That's why I'm just like, I feel like a storm is coming.
Probably, or sometimes if you hear about something, you don't really know that it's blowing up. And also all these, this is a different time, right? 2025 with all these people on podcasts and all this
clout
stuff.
And everybody doing all this talking is getting people in trouble.
Yeah, so I think that communicating on several different platforms, and not like something that you just said a few minutes ago. You said something about Ace. And by the way, I do not watch this show. I just literally watch NikkiStar supporting this, but I'm like, oh God, this show is taking over my household. But the thing about it is, something that you said, and this is why I believe in mentorship in any area of your life. You need a mentor. If you want to go into transportation, you need to find somebody that's good at transportation. You want to go on TV, you need to find somebody that's been on TV. You want to go on reality TV, unscripted, you need a mentor. And I agree with what you said. Before you do any press, before you do anything, you should talk to somebody. A very good team to look at.
Somebody seasoned should be guiding you through this entire process.
Yeah, or just someone that kind of knows a little bit more than you.
Yeah.
I think that they're young. I think that they're having fun, and there's nothing wrong with being young and having fun. You just gotta be careful when you sign in all these documents, because when you go on a TV show, it's not just you appear. You sign a lot of documents.
You sign away your intellectual property.
You go
forever.
And I just don't think that people know.
They're not reading the contract. They're just happy to be on TV.
Happy to be cast on the show. You're telling everybody that you're on the show, but you got to really read the fine print, because you don't know. And then another thing you were saying, like these people are contracted for a year. There's a lot of contracts I've signed. I've never been a cast member on a show, but just being a producer, we're never allowed to talk about it, unless we're in court. So not just a year. It's like you sign an NDA, you sign. You're not supposed to talk about it unless.
They have all said that it's a year, so they can't talk about the show for a year. That is what they all said that they signed. But again, these kids ain't reading these contracts, so who knows?
They're not reading their contracts. They don't have PR teams. They are just talking and doing stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. But I had to step in about the whole network thing, because I'm like, let's not listen. These networks have been doing this for years, longer than we've been born. They know what they're doing. Yeah. But sometimes networks don't. Production companies pitch shows to networks. Networks pick them up. They're not out there producing the shows, but I don't think that regular people know that. They just say, oh, NBC, or they start naming these networks, and I'm like, no, don't do that, because they don't know.
They're
finding out. But trust me, every single network has a lot of attorneys, and every network, be careful when you go up against a network. Just know that they have a lot of power,
and a lot of money.
So you got to make sure, and they got the best attorneys. So you got to make sure that you know what you're talking about. But I would say if somebody is listening to this, maybe they are a cast member, or maybe they're considering going on the show. Just be careful, be mindful, read your contracts, reach out to somebody that's been on the show. Most of these cast members definitely be in their DMs too. So like, let's just say one of your favorite unscripted shows, and you're like, oh, what if I reach out to this person? Trust me, they're in DMs. You can reach out to them and say, oh, I'm about to be on the show.
They check everything. The background checks are crazy. Thank you. Princeton, I want to acknowledge this. Princeton says, Ace smacking her behind and joyfully skipping to the stage to lay down for her makes him look guilty too. It doesn't if he says he felt uncomfortable, right? Or is saying that he felt coerced or forced to participate in something. That's why I'm just like, I just want us to be very clear with that, because him, his heart rate being raised or his genitalia being raised still does not mean that he wanted what happened to him to happen to him. And if he says that he was uncomfortable, if he says that he didn't like that, we have to respect it. Because if Ace was a woman, we would do that. So I just want us to be very respectful of that. And also, we don't know who in the Star family has experienced the same thing. So we also want to be respectful of the community that we are in. Nasby said a similar situation happened on The Bachelor in Paradise, with things going too far sexually between contestants, and the lines have been blurred where consent and coercion were concerned. The show was also almost canceled. If you're talking about The Bachelor Pad, it was canceled. Remember, The Bachelor Pad became Bachelor in Paradise because there was a contestant on there that went too far with a guy went too far with another contestant on the show, and she complained about it. And I think she actually sued the show and Bachelor Pad got canceled. That's why I'm just like, this is really, really bad what he's saying. This show could get canceled. It may come back. It may be put on pause, but this could get really, 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 really bad. Just Jonathan said Chris behaved noticeably different after hieroglyphics tried to coerce him as well. He was obviously affected by it. Child. This is not good. Nicole said this level of backstabbing is disturbing. Ola should block and never speak to Ace again. She just needs to leave everybody from Love Island alone. She really, really does. RUF said, isn't it illegal for producers to rig eliminations in a game show with prize fund at the end? Yes. And if that is what Ace is admitting, I hope he can back it up. Craig Baum said, Ace should understand he don't love anyone either. Child? He's not acting like it. Miss Brown Sugar said, I don't see that as a betrayal, saying that's what America wanted. To me, doesn't sound like he's saying I agree. Now that I agree with you on, right? However, Ace is saying in private, Nick said that should not have been the Final Four. So Ace wanted him to say that. And when his friend didn't say that, he confronted him about it. And Nick told him he doesn't care anymore. He moved past it. And Ace felt like he threw him away at that point. And I can understand that. Solis said, I don't think Nick even meant it at all negative. I didn't even notice it, honestly. Well, even what if he meant what he meant does not necessarily change the impact or the intent that Ace felt. This all could have been fixed with a conversation. Because Ace left that conversation with Nick being like, he's not my friend, and being on a warpath, instead of just saying, well, Nick, I'm not cool with that. How are you over? This affected me. This is how I felt, friend. But again, men don't have these conversations. Because remember when Nick said, when he was talking about the issues with Huda and Alandria and the rest of the girls, he was just like, well, that's how the girls are. Hold on. Toya, are you coming back with more?
Sorry, I'm back. I just read the comment and I need to clear something up. Someone said, sorry, legally, network is responsible for production all the way down to the office cleaners, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. I wasn't saying they weren't. I was just saying when you blame a network and you think that they know everything that production has done, yes, they are responsible, but they have to be made aware. Yeah. Because they're not physically on set every 24 hours.
But at the end of the day, production is going to be, the show is
responsible. That's why I'm saying that they have legal. Yeah. There are some shows, which I'm not going to name here because you're not talking about, but there are some shows that have 3 and 4 shifts. People don't know that. Yeah. But they do 24-hour footage because they think that something that somebody says at 3 a.m. is going to be different than something they say at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah. So I'm not saying that the network is not responsible. I'm saying that they might not be made aware. And when they are made aware, trust me, they're going to do what they need.
That's the thing. It's how they respond to this. How they respond to this depends on how bad it actually is. Only time will tell.
I know that your platform is credible, so I wanted to clear that up.
I forgot what I was saying before because Toya-Star interrupted me.
Sorry.
Anyway, A said he has such a delicate ego. If the reunion was what made him turn on Nick, you're right. Like, if that's all it took, were y'all ever really friends? And that's the problem with them all on this show saying that they're friends in sisterhood. Y'all are not. Y'all are game show contestants competing for money. So y'all need to stop that lie right now. Natalie C said, honestly, Shalace has been contradicting themselves. You're mad that you weren't in the Final Four, but you were ready to leave. Which is it? Now, I can understand them being ready to leave. I think everybody was ready to leave. Remember when Taylor got cut and everybody was just like, Nick didn't react the same way that Taylor reacted when Nick got cut. And Nick was just like, listen, we were all done with the show at this point. Like, everybody was ready to go. We had been there long enough. Everybody was just ready to go. So that I do understand. He was, but guys, I'm gonna stand on this. I'm going to stand on this. He was protecting her. He could have done more. He needed to do more because of his privilege. Nick could have shut all of this down. And I don't know if he was being diplomatic. And listen, I get that they were just out of the house, and still friendships is very weird. That's why I said these guys need to watch the show. They're not watching the show, so they don't know what is really going on, and they're buddying up to people who are their enemies. They should have watched the show so that they could have been informed. But Nick should have shot that, in my opinion, Nick should have shot down that racism the first time it happened. He should have shot it down the first time it happened. Well, yes, Ace defended Nick. Nick defended Ace several times, called him brother and everything. So I don't know why this is the straw that broke the camel's back. I really, really don't know. But I understand him saying, I wanted you to make a statement publicly on a certain platform because we have talked about this and you have agreed. And when he didn't do it, Ace was hurt by that. He mentioned it to Nick, and Nick said he's over it, basically, insinuating that he didn't care. And Ace walked away from that, not letting Nick know that he no longer was his friend. So Nick this whole time is thinking that Ace is his friend, and Ace is planning to destroy everything for Nick. Oh, God. Oh. And that is my problem. It should have been for Ola. Alexis said, we thought Ace was moving quiet during this period, during the month leading up to the reunion, but he was fuming the whole time. Ain't that something? Rumpelstiltskin. Acting like Rumpelstiltskin. We all thought that he was being smart and making moves in silence. He was hating the whole time. The whole time. Tia B said, I can understand why Ace is disappointed. He still could have not spoken on another's relationships. Absolutely. Mad Hatter said, Jeremiah said at the reunion, Nick stood up for Huda for Alandria, but it was cut out, and that he even cried. Yeah, we talked about that. Hannah said, Nick is too nice to everybody, including Tulak Shakur. Alana said, has Nick spoken up against any of the racism? He posted a Snapchat. I love Nick Alandria. I can't protect him on that one. He needed to do more. Blimp said, my issue with Ace is him claiming to love Alandria and wanting the best for her, but not telling her his reservations about Nick, but allegedly telling Speedy, a man you just met. Yeah, that was messy. Emelina said, a lot of white people act aloof to racism, so I'm not shocked that Nick is acting like he's over the hate Ace received. Here's the thing. If you didn't see it, if you didn't feel it, somebody who is always at the hands of it is telling you that something is happening. Believe him. Give Me Shelter said Nick needs to learn how to wield that privilege. Yes, that's where his parents come in, but I bet his mama is on the case. Hopefully. Peanut Gallery said, how about Ace and Shelly saying they hoped Amaya and Brian won over Nick and Alandria when asked? They never was in support of Nick and Ola outside the villa because he is jealous. Now, listen, I wanted to give it to them to be like, oh, this relationship. And on the After Sun, I was just like, maybe they're just saying that because the relationship is pretty much new and Nick and Alandria came together at like the last 2 weeks. Maybe they're just saying that for Amaya and Brian because they felt like that was more of a real relationship, because it seems like everybody felt like Nick and Landry was forced by the show. Maybe that's why they're saying it. But now I'm just like, I don't know what these kids are doing. Like, if she is participating in a scam, go along with it if that's your friend. If my friend was scamming this show and getting her coins, I'm going to stick beside her. Alexis says, so Nick should protect Ace, but Ace couldn't protect Alandria and Shelly today because Shalandria is now in tatters. The line keeps moving. Hannah said, exactly. Now Shalandra is receiving all of the hate. Yeah, nobody's going to go after a man. It never happens. He knows that. Springtime said, I hate that. People wanted any reason, and Ace gave it to him. Absolutely. You put your friend and your woman in a line of fire. Ken said they didn't see Alandria as attractive. They didn't think in a million years that she would be the it girl. And she is, child. And she is. Bree Talks TV said Ace has already let one guy play in Alandria's face and was willing to send her home. I don't think he cares that much about Ola. It just looks good today. Listen, everybody is showing their face. Everybody is showing their true colors. Chocolate Sooner, thank you for the super chat. Chocolate Sooner said Ace and Lester Holt or Robin Roberts. He got to do something. This is bad. K Pratt, thank you for the super chat. K Pratt says she's talking about Corinne and yep. I can't believe you remember the names, child. That was something. Oh, wait. Oh, really? I kind of remember this. I was talking about Bachelor Pad. Oh, DeMario was so weird. Yes, I remember that. But Bachelor in Paradise would have been canceled. For some reason, they didn't find any validity to that, and they just don't have Corinne and DeMario back on the show. But Bachelor Pad, woo, that's how we got Bachelor in Paradise, y'all. So that could happen to Love Island. Love Island could go away and then come back as, Golden Island. Who knows? Thank you so much, ME, for the super chat. ME said, what's weird as well is that the other male islanders, Jalen and TJ, were posting about Ace's interview. A lot of interviews have taken place with other islanders and they didn't make it a big deal. This was hella planned. I don't think it was hella planned. I think that everybody's just clout chasing, and this is their problem. They are chasing clout. They are chasing clout. Clout is a hell of a drug, and it will destroy you every time. Miss Brown Sugar said, and the thing is, the criticism Shelly and Alandria the criticism to Shelly and Alandria are completely unwarranted based on their actions. Ace should not be receiving hate and vitriol, but criticism about his actions. Completely fair. I agree. And Melina said the Islanders said that they were tested for STDs every day. Yes, so where Ace is coming up with this, again, that's what I'm saying. He better have some receipts. Nas B said Ace not caring that his behavior may serve to isolate Alandria and Shelly is crazy. It sadly puts both women in such a vulnerable position, making them susceptible to be manipulated by Ace and others. Yep. The Whitney edit said, and to be honest, I feel like Ace went too light on Huda. He didn't go harder on her in that interview, and he should have. I agree. Why are y'all all moving as individuals? Like, I am so scared for younger Black Americans. I am so scared. They seem lost. It's giving weapons. It's giving weapons. It's giving weapons. I feel like Hitler got a string and took some 4C here and wrapped it around that stick and snapped it. And now all the Black American youth are just Nazis. I'm so concerned. Spency said, I wonder if the SA stuff can be blamed on Huda alone. Child, we gonna see. If I was a show, I told y'all not to say that, girl. Be yourself said, I only feel bad for Ola. Ace adjacent ain't a friend either. Well, I won't say that because we don't know. Carter said, no, Ola going give my man. I hated hearing her preach about protection of Nick. Nick should have been protecting her. Well, this is the thing. Right now, she doesn't have any reason not to trust him. Alandria is very smart. I think she's fine, guys. I think she's fine. I don't think that Ace knows what's best for Alandria more than Alandria. I think she's absolutely fine. I think she's absolutely smart. I think she is moving with wisdom. What Ace did to her was absolutely wrong. B. Nichols said Brian has always been shady. That man chose Austin Girl before switching to Amaya for the bag. Yep, child. Yep. J.K. Knight said Nick saved it for the reunion and they cut it out. Now he's showing support and speaking out on socials. They all waited to address Huda at the reunion. I've seen that and I hope he keeps it up. I hope now that he sees what is happening here, I hope now that he clocks in and realizes he has to speak up more. Ice Macchiato said Ace and Huda are definitely different iterations of the same people. I agree. Absolutely. Bigger than the show. Hey, Candace. Candace said at the time of the podcast, Ace and Shelley relationship is no more defined than Nick and Alandria's. Yes. So if one relationship is fake, so is the other one. I completely agree. Miss Brown Sugar said Ace refuses to recognize how he created the environment that led him to getting sniped out of winning. The cult that he claimed to not care anything about. Here's the thing. If you wanted to leave the show, didn't care about the show, wasn't there for money, was there for love, you found love and left with somebody that you love. So what is the issue now? I think, Ace, I got to be honest with you. I think Ace was looking for a reason to be mad at Nick or looking for an outlet. I think he was probably seething with jealousy at the opportunities that Nick and Alandria were getting. And as soon as Nick slipped up, he said, that's my door. That's it. And everything that he felt was able to finally come up. But I think he's been harboring these feelings since he came out the villa. Because when he said, we get out the villa and it's Nick and Landria, everything is Nick and Landria, Nick and Landria, Nick and Landria, that was jealousy speaking. And he's not wise enough to know that we could see that. That was jealousy. Because he wanted it to be Ace, 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 Ace. And because it was Nicolandria, he got jealous and envious. And that envy is eating him up and it is playing with his mind. Because if he had any sense, he would have known that Nicolandria is strong, but the core four is stronger. Because everybody was loving that relationship. Everybody was loving how they were working together. You ruined that. And now Nick and Landria is going to stand on their own and they're going to continue to go to heights that you would have experienced alongside them had you not been a hater. Just John said, my problem is that Ace admits to participating in the production BS. His problem is that they did not reward him for it. There you go. There you go. Sophie Chats a lot said, well, there wasn't going to be a spark when both Nick and Alandria were with other partners. Plus, why speak about that? Nick seems interested now. It was none of his business. He should have never spoke on it. Give Me Shelter said, hey, the best lies have elements of truth. That's where Huda gets the game messed up. She's delusional. I agree. Indigo says something nefarious is going on. Love Island is purposefully sought black influencers, gave them a bad edit. Don't speak against the races. Majority of the hate train are bots. Maybe production paid for it. I don't think that the production would pay for the hate train. I really, really don't. And this is why I'm not going to put it on production, because I need for black people to realize how envious non-black people are of black people. We cannot be like, oh, it was bots. Oh, it was a show. No, this is how these non-black people think about black people. Not all, but enough that it's a problem, guys. That election should have told y'all everything that y'all needed to know. This is real. Now, this ain't Love Island. This is America. And y'all need to wake up to that and start moving different. Hey, Shay. Shay said Ace wouldn't mind if Nick and Ola was second best to them. Absolutely. It gives, I'm happy for my friends as long as they are not better than me. Absolutely. And that is why I think Alandria has to distance herself from Shelly, because a jealous man is a dangerous man. He is. And I'm not saying danger like he can harm anybody, but he's very dangerous to the brand. He is. He got to get that checked. He got to deal with that jealousy before he can ever be around them ever again. Be Yourself said Ace mentioned T and C, so he doesn't believe any of the other couples were real. He only mentioned them because he's currently friends with them. If he was beefing with Taylor and Clark, he would have thrown them under the bus as well. We also have to realize, guys, Ace is 23 and he is the baby of his family. He's having a temper tantrum and he's expecting everybody to cater to him. And because nobody is picking up the baby and catering to his temper tantrum, he is saying all kinds of nonsense so that Ace literally did this so that Nick can reach out to him and be like, what's going on? He's very young. Shelly, I hope you're seeing this. I hope you're seeing this. Ace said he sounded like Huda with the I love Ola, but who's the love bomber now? Also, you saying you will marry Shelly, but she's not your girlfriend yet. Ciao. Effie said NikkiNicoleStar was always going to be a thing because the producers wanted it, and you know what? That's okay. As long as that Black woman is getting money and popularity and influence, I do not care how it came about. Paula Girl said, not sorry. Ace played a grown man's game when he's not equipped for the job. Like the kid, but yeah, this is bad. I agree. LSS said, I don't understand the point of this interview. People loved him and Shelly. He's not taking advantage of the moment like they are. I said that weeks ago. He's not taking advantage of the moment because he's jealous. This is just envy talking. It's bad. This is just envy talking. Shanae said, I'm sorry, but Shelly and Ace were not popular to the public. I think they were. As Shelly and Ace were going to win the show before they started getting that edit. Remember, guys, they were at the beginning, they were very, very, very popular. Denise said, what Ace doesn't understand is that the producers got NikkiNicoleStar eliminated so they could save them because they saw the chemistry. Listen, that couple was big money for them. It was very wise to not let them go. Hannah said, if Ace has text of Nick telling him he was faking it, then he needs to post it or shut up. Thank you. Say their names, show their receipts, or keep it on the playground. Because now you look like a fool. Mimi said, Ace is emotionally fragile and vindictive. Instead of dealing with the real villain's production and his ego, he burnt the entire house down with everybody in it. Yep. Be Yourself said, how much y'all bet that Ace will say that the interview was edited? Absolutely. And then Speedy's just going to have to run the interview unedited, and they're both going to look a mess. Fools. Hey, Zandil. Zandil said, even sadder that O told people to stop the Nick slander, and then he goes, a mess. Niquez said, I saw all their faces when Nick said he wanted to give her everything she wants. Jealousy is a disease. You're right. The Lux Explorer said NikkiNicoleStar will rise even stronger after this. Ace has done so much damage. I doubt if he can recover from this. Alandria got a very bad edit too. Hope she watches the show. I hope so too. They need to sit down and just watch the show so they can get a better understanding and move accordingly. We've been telling them this. Melody Smith said Ace is not going to fix it with Alandria. She is the target. I hate to say it, but I think you're right. Soft and Spicy says she's not my girlfriend, but I'm in love with her. He's young, y'all. Bibi said, I will never understand saying I love you to someone, but not boyfriend and girlfriend. And say I'll do it when I'm ready. Okay, so why can't Nick do the same thing? Why can't you're slow burning with Shelly? Why can't Nick slow burn with Alandria? AI said, I wonder if Alandria wants Nick to be loud because people always turn it on her. I feel so bad for her. He has to step in and protect her. He has to be vocal now because that's the only way this will stop. Cece said, the piece I knew before watching season 7 is something I'll forever mourn. I'm so glad it's over. Shoni said, I know if Ola is not at Fashion Week looking, I know if Ola is not at Fashion Week looking good because of Ace. Nah, I don't want her losing money because of him. I think she will be fine. I just hope they don't respond. Don't respond. Mystical said, I still think Ace needs to be told about himself for the heart rate challenge. I do agree. Here's the thing. This is what our girl Ola said. She posted this today on her Twitter. She said, child, so anyways, my event at Tuskegee went amazing yesterday. So good for her. She's not focusing on the mess or the drama. She's going after what she needs to go after. And I'm proud of her. She's going to do well. She's going to continue to do well. Ace is not stopping that bag. Unfortunately, he may stop the bag for the woman that he claims that he loves. Shanae said, by the way, Brian has never defended Ace publicly. None of them have defended Ace publicly, but Nick and Taylor. This was so foolish. Kingdom Lex said, I keep saying Austin couldn't argue his point very well, but he did have points. He had points, but he was high. Shay said Shelly posted birthday pictures, but none with the Landria. No, but she had videos and everything. I think there was videos and pictures with them. I don't think the reason why she didn't post any with anybody else, I think, is because all of those posts, those were ads for Crown Royal. Springtime said his problem too is that he wasn't popular with the fans and did nothing to address how he came across. Yes, it was edited, but he did too much. He's too eager to get his point across and not listen. I agree. Carter said Nick not saying anything about racism and black people or letting it slide. What the F is wrong with y'all? Ooh, child. A said, girl, Marcel just gave me a laugh with his comments and posts defending his parents. Oh, Lord. He's defending his parents? What is happening? Tia Bia says Shelly does not deserve any backlash. She wasn't in the room or on the green couch. I agree. Cece said, I'm not putting these two women against each other until they themselves come out and say they are no longer cool. I agree. LaDonna says she did post pictures with the Landria. They were all over TikTok. Yeah. The pictures that I believe that one commenter is talking about is on Instagram. She didn't post those because those were ads. Those were all her. Me too. I am following him too. Carrie said, did Ace make a statement about Shelly getting racist hate, or was he too? Like, I'm just saying, what Ace wanted Nick to do, he didn't do either. The line is what? Always moving. Effie said, I find it so interesting that Nick and Landria's biggest haters are Taylor and me. Me too, child. Wonderful Life said, my only call out is Nick may have taken his cues from Ola. She never called it out until recently as well and may have told him not to. I don't know, but she's not said it in lives. I don't care. I don't know though she's not said it in lives. Now that I can see and I can understand, but I don't want to keep on giving him excuses. Right? I don't think he needs to wait for her to say, it's okay now, honey, you can defend me against racism. What woman wants to say that to the man they lying down with? You should already be doing that. You are saying that you want to be with this woman forever, right? You want to live with her. You want to be with her. You want to travel the world with her. Then you better learn real quickly how to protect her. Real quick. Shay said, but didn't Nick address this at the reunion? He literally cried and addressed it according to everybody. He did, but it was edited out, right? And I want to say this, even if he did this and it was confirmed, he needed to do more, guys. I want to make sure women and black people in his life, I want to make sure that we are constantly, for the black people in his life, I want to make sure that you're constantly decolonizing your mind, right? Because what I am seeing is everybody being very apologetic for Nick and excusing a lot of his actions, but quick to throw Shelly away. And I want you to examine why you are giving Nick so much grace and Shelly none. It is something, decolonizing your mind is something that you have to do daily, because everybody in America is programmed to be anti-Black. Why? Because Black Americans are the most progressive citizens in the United States of America. Nobody has moved this nation forward more than Black Americans. And the people who control this nation want to make sure that those people never get the proper respect that they deserve. Because if they do, there will be an iconic shift in this nation, and the hands of power will change. So I just want us to be very careful that when we're looking at this situation, we are looking at it through a decolonized lens, because ain't no way Shelly should be thrown away this quickly by other Black people, especially Black women, while Nick is getting a billion chances. And to the women, let's make sure we're decentering men, because we are quick to tear down a woman because we are raised in this society to compete with other women. We see women as competition and not as our sisters. So we can be very quick to tear down another woman, to throw another woman away, to protect a man. So let's decolonize and let's decenter men, and let's look at this through a decolonized and a male decentered lens. Just Jonathan said, Ace doesn't have an issue with Nick not addressing racism. He said himself that he doesn't want to give into the victim mentality. It's about the final four. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wait, what's not a real video? That's not a real video. It looks like a real video. Yes, Kaylee, I am too. I'm assuming, because this is the thing. For people who don't know about these housewife reunions, that's how they start. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's in each other's trailer having a little kiki. And then by the end of that reunion, everybody is enemies. Everybody is enemies. Oh, wait, that's AI? Okay, if it's AI, I'm gonna go with y'all. If y'all say it's AI, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it. So we're gonna remove that. We're gonna remove that from the lexicon. Be Yourself said, is it shocking that the colorist rodeo clown and Ace and his colorist friend Cookie trying to hurt Ola? All Blacks ain't your friend. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Miss Lou said, Hood's movement looks repeated, like someone replaced whoever was originally high-fiving Alandria. Well, we're going to remove that from the lexicon. If there is any doubt about that video, we're going to remove it. We're not even going to talk about it anymore. Thank you all so much for sharing your perspective. Shay said also, Bramaya was the produced fake couple, and Brian used her to get 50K. Did Brian use her, or did they use each other? I think they were both in on it. Kay said, agreed about Austin. I don't think he actually liked or respected Shelly as a person. He just liked the competition and wanted to stay on the show. All the guys were doing that, guys. We talked about this before Love Island got real racist. We were talking about how misogynistic it was and how the men were using the women just to stay on the show until what they really wanted came on the show. LaDonna says, sorry, but that video says the same thing to me that we say to Hood. If Alandria was so upset about her not making a post, why are you smiling all in her face? Well, I wouldn't, again, this is the last thing I'm going to say about that, because we're going to remove the video from the lexicon. We have all been kind or just cordial to a coworker that has did us dirty. Especially if the coworker was non-Black. It's corporate survival, and she's a corporate girly. Donia said, they said a lot was cut out. Jeremiah and Nick stood up for Alandria during the reunion and cried what she did. It was edited. I agree. Brown Beauty said, all these male talking are jealous of Ola and Nick's spot. Just chatty patties hating from outside the club. Yep. Oh, what I was saying before ToyaStar interrupted me is that Nick was talking. He in one interview, he was talking about, oh, the girls are very emotional. Me and the guys, we go through stuff and we just get over. We're not as emotional as the girls. What do you think now, Nick? Ain't nobody messier than the men on this season. Ain't nobody more emotional than the men on this season. Be yourself said Nick literally has to unalive someone for him to be effective. He's white and good looking. That's all he's got to be. Yeah, he'll be fine. And he has extreme influence and power. BY said TikTok is Asian owned, so they will allow anyone to have a platform. If they spread hate, if TikTok was a valid platform, they will remove the influencer and fine the content. What does them being Asian owned have to do? Are you mean it's about anti-blackness? Ryan said he really could be a star. I wish he could see that himself. Like, you're a star. Not everyone needs to like you. I again, he jacked up everything. Ace was going to be so successful. I don't know what's going to happen with him now, but I know it's not going to be with NBC. See, Christmas said this was so unnecessary. Speedy follow-up clip reminded me of what? You got cut off. And Melina said, Nikki, what's your Instagram? I have a clip of the Speedy on. Oh, I got it. I got that. See, Christmas said Ace walks into the villa and wanted to be executive producer and direct the show. It failed. And when he did not win, now he is retaliating. Yep. Mary said, Nick has not been protected himself. So how much white privilege does he really have? Now we're not going to downplay white privilege, Mary. That we are not going to downplay. Nick is a straight, white, conventionally attractive male. He has all the privilege. He's okay. Chrissy said they get tested before and during the show. Nobody had herpes. Ciao. That's what I'm saying. This is messy. This is really messy and really, really bad. LMNL said Clark Taylor and Shanace and Shelly and Ace better last forever the way Ace bigged them up. They better. Homebody Britt said he lost integrity. Why would anyone tell him anything ever again? Absolutely. Nicole said, Nikki, these men have actually disgusted me. Nikki, these men have actually disgusted me. What is wrong with them? Why does our suffering bring them joy? These boys are red-pilled, guys. They are red-pilled. It's bad for them. Springtime said, having these girls living in storage lockers talking about off the grid. And they can't see it. That's why I said y'all better stop falling for that trad wife content. Because you're not going to realize you're enslaved till you're 35 years old and you see yourself texting your husband, asking him if he can send you a few dollars so you could buy a candy bar. That's what it's going to hit you. That you don't have control over nothing in your life. And you have to stay in that situation because you gave everything away. Woo! Miss Lou said, I hope Shelly and Alandria don't delete themselves over it. Me too, but Alandria is going to have to separate herself for a while from Shelly if she continues to stay with Ace, because this is bad. Melody says Shelly kept kissing Sierra, and now you can't keep Shelly out of Sierra's face. I think it's the other way around. But listen, who knows at this point? Who knows what's going on with this cast? I will say I'm over it. I'm over it. I was rooting for the core four. Now I'm just rooting for Alandria. I'm sick of everybody. Carter said, can we separate Ola from Nick? Can't we simply suppose? Well, here's the thing. I've been said I'm Alandria. Nick is along for the ride. I don't mind him as long as he uses his privilege to protect her. But I am here for Alandria. I don't got no problem with Nick. No issues. My only problem is that I wish he would use his privilege sooner. But if they both make money, let them. But I am absolutely here to see that black woman soar. I am absolutely here to see that black woman soar. Takia said Ace hasn't talked to Nick, so what insight could he possibly have into the relationship? What's throwing me is the Disney double date. That's what's weird to me. You did all of this stuff with them as a couple, knowing they were fake, according to you. It's weird. Hamburger said, I peeked on Shelly's birthday post and story from tonight. Ola is left out. I don't think that there's anything in that. I think that everybody is left out of her sponsored content. Priya said, NikkiNicoleStar had a New York Times interview. NBC needs to plug the F out of NikkiNicoleStar and just keep investing in them. I don't care if they get a buddy TV show or a showman. So Nick has had Ola's back. He has. He can do more. Kimberly said, Nick is headed to Houston tomorrow. Be booed up with her and protect her. Kaylee said, Shelly is just a tech to a young, egotistical man. That's what it's looking like. I would say let's start at 26, 27, to be honest with you. M.E., thank you for the super chat. M.E. said, meanwhile, Alandria's lip kick restocked today and sold out again. Period. That's what we need to be focusing on. Rochelle said, Love Island wants immaturity and bug characters for entertainment. That's really the franchise. Also, younger people are easier to control. They're easier to control. Denise said, do you think that Ace was mad about Nick's faux Nick back tattoo? No. Well, he said in the interview he thought it was funny. He thought it was cool. That's how I know that boy didn't know that Ace and him was beefing. Nick wouldn't have done that had he known that Ace and him weren't friends. Hannah said all of this would have been avoided if Ace and Nick would just talk and communicate like the adults they are. Yeah. This could have been fixed with a simple conversation. Here we are. Love by You said, Nikki, it bothers me though. No matter what Nick does, he'll be protected by Black women because of their investment in love and Landria. What can you do? I'm telling you, I'm very scared for the Black community. I'm scared for the Black diaspora. I'm scared for Black Americans. The discernment is gone. We don't have the discernment of our ancestors. I'm like, if you should be holding anybody accountable or keeping your head on swivel with anybody, it should be non-Black people. I can't believe all the chances y'all get. It's crazy to me. But here we are. And again, I'm not saying that, I love the way that Nick loves and protects Alandria. He can do more and he should do more. And that should not be controversial. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Because Nick, all the hate that she is getting, Nick could dead it right now. And maybe he doesn't know that and he needs to know that. And again, that is what you take on, Black women, when you enter relationships with non-Black men. You are going to have to teach that man how to see you, how to love you, and how to protect you. If you are not willing or don't want to do that work, don't date men who are not Black. And if you want to be safe and keep your sanity and your youth, don't date men. Especially if you Gen Z. Y'all stock is rotten. Kimberly said in England, contestants have taken their own lives and it's still around. A possible lawsuit for SA, it will still be here because it made money. That's in England. I don't know if that's going to fly over here, though. Because they don't have nothing to protect them contestants. There are laws here in America to protect these people. They're just not smart enough to know that they have them. Miss Lou said the new producers this season might have done something. Remember they clean. Oh, you are right. These producers are, this is ITV. ITV hired all these people. Ciao. Priya said Chris was the countdown, right? He has the best case. Oh, he absolutely does, if he wants it. if he wants it. I don't think he's going to do it because I think he's going to be on Love Island Games. Kaylee said, not for forever. I thought it was like a year or some years after. I think it's just a year, but you never know what these contracts that these people have. Jay said, Ace definitely should have handled his grievance off camera, face to face with Nick. He should have protected his sister. Absolutely. And Ace, the only reason why we're saying that is because you said that this is why you were doing what you were doing. And you showed that it's not the reason why. Nicole said, Nick did say many times that Ace and Shelly had a hard time on the show. Someone just reposted the Kiki podcast where Nick said that they were done wrong. Oh, absolutely. I saw that. I talked about that. Ace is jealous, guys. It's envy. It's envy. And he was looking, his envy was looking for a moment where Nick slipped up to release what he's been harboring from jump. Did I get it, chocolate sooner? Yeah, I got it. Let me get a couple more and then I got to get out of here because I still have not eaten, guys. Woo! Jimmy said, I think Nick was nervous about being dragged for the whole oh, you're right. That could be something. But again, he's white. He'll be fine. Not a good enough excuse. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Priya said, well, his biggest following is on Snapchat with all the sub stuff, right? I think it is, but I think Ace wanted him to do that on the platform. Here's the thing. I think this was a huge miscommunication, and Ace got in his baby of the family feelings and had a temper tantrum, and he does not realize these people are your coworkers. They are not your family. They are not going to respond to you and baby you the way your family does. They're going to cut you off and act like you didn't exist, and they will be right to do so. Chrissy said, why did he expect Nick to speak for him when he literally refused to speak for himself? Ace literally refused to give interviews. Yep. Mel Ron said, I remember that. They were both really drunk. They stated so neither of them were in a clear state. And Demario was so wasted he couldn't perform. I believe Corinne said that she didn't blame him. I believe that too. I remember that sounds very similar to what I am recollecting. Ray said this season has so much drama. Also, did you see how Huda wants to respond after the reunion and say Andy is racist? Yeah, I saw that. And I talked about that. I said it's very dangerous for her to weaponize her people knowing what is happening right now because it looks suspicious because she never spoke up for her people before this. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Absolutely. The people like, oh, the 80% of black men. Guys, that's still very alarming that 20% of black men voted for that demon. That is very scary. The black community should be on high alert because we have been infiltrated. Very scary. Kingdom Lex said, I want to give Shelly grace, but if Ace has been harboring all of this jealousy, it's possible he's been venting to Shelly and she feels the same about Nicolandria because they both feel the show forced it. Again, unless she slips up and says something like that fool, I'm still raw for her. Shanae said, I just feel like after Ace and the Amaya situation, the public turned on Ace and Shelly, and Shelly went down by association. Yep. That's why them fools need to watch the show. That's why they need to watch the show. They don't know what happened. They're watching the show on TikTok and they creating these unnecessary beefs with the wrong people. Y'all hanging with the people y'all should be beefing with and beefing with the people you should be linking up with. Watch the show. Lord. Tony said, Ace just caused himself more harm than good after this interview. People are not happy that he put Shelly and Melandria in harm's way, as they should be. Why can't they just love one another and stick together? Envy is a warlock that is very strong. Oliver Girl said, to be fair, can you imagine Nick speaking on racism? He lives his life without gonads. I trust Melandria. Here's the thing. I can't imagine him speaking on racism because he hasn't. That's the problem. Listen, even the accusation, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. Priya said AI has gotten scary, but we know they were attached at the hip, so it wouldn't make sense for them to it wouldn't make sense of them individually being near Huda. And again, this was at the beginning of the reunion. This is when they were all meeting each other and entering in. So who knows? Kay said, "Oh, I think they were talking about the video where Nick and Ola were friendly." Yeah. Listen, I'm back out of there. I'm back out of there. Emily said, "Nick is a white man. Of course he has privilege. I like Nick, but that's just a fact of our society." Oh, absolutely. 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 Nasby said, "I want to know how that alleged convo about racism went between Ace and Nick, because that's such a flimsy response, even from carefree and diplomatic Nick. Was that all Nick said, or was there more?" I wasn't there. I'm going to assume that conversation probably never happened. I'm going to assume that Ace got mad that Nick said that's who America chose, so that is who should be in the Final Four. And when Nick said it at the reunion, that set Ace off. However, Ace had already been harboring feelings against Nick and Alandria because he had no idea how big they actually were. He didn't even think they were a thing. His exact words were, "I got out the villa and everything is NikkiNicoleStar." That was envy speaking through him. And it's one thing about that demon, it will always reveal itself. You just got to pay attention. And that was envy, because Ace is thinking it should have been Ace. It should have been, everybody should have been calling and wanting Ace. But they called NikkiNicoleStar, and he got a problem with it. Listen, I'm going to get a little biblical because of the bishop, right? What is happening with Ace and Nick is so reminiscent of David and Saul. Because David loved Saul. He looked up to Saul. Saul was his mentor. David did nothing to Saul but just become popular. People just liked him. And they didn't like him in spite of Saul. They liked him and they liked Saul. But Saul had always been there. David was new. He was younger. He did something great. So he was just getting the attention for now. Nobody said that attention was forever. Saul didn't know that, but he just assumed that because everybody was praising David, that everybody was going to forget about him. And no matter what David did, Saul found a problem because envy had rotted his brain and his soul. So everything that David did, Saul made it an issue and convinced himself that because he is so popular that he is going to try to steal his resources and everything about him. And he is going to get big enough and kill him. So he convinced himself that David got to go. Never had a conversation with David. Never talked about the situation, but sat there in his castle, right? He's in a freaking castle. David is in a damn studio apartment tending to donkeys. This man is in a castle, fuming, creating a narrative with a man he never even spoke to about the situation. And left with his thoughts and no discernment and wisdom, destroyed his kingdom, hating on another man who all that man did was love him. Bishop, I hope you hear me. Envy is rotting your brains. And before it takes everything from you, I hope that when you get down and pray before the Lord on tonight, that you ask him to deliver you from everything that is hindering you from being a better representation of his grace. You are in error, young man. What you did today was evil. It was diabolical. It was not of God. And as much as you love the Lord, you should know better. You set up there in self. That was not of God. What you did was wrong. So I hope your prayer tonight is repentance. And I hope you pray that the Lord shows you how to navigate out of this. Because this was complete nonsense. You burned everybody that you loved and loved you due to envy. And if you have such a great relationship for the Lord and the Lord loves you so much, then why on earth do you think that he would give Nick what's yours? The 23 is showing, baby. The 23 is showing. Stay off the internet, and maybe you need to turn down your plate, do a bit of fasting and laying prostrate before the Lord. Maybe you should put on some sackcloths and ashes and be repentant for a minute, because you were out of line, young man. You were out of line. This was so wrong, and I am so disappointed. I am so... Tale as old as time. Tale as old as time. Oh, I pray he can get out of this, and I pray he sees it. I pray he sees it before it's too late. That's who I was going to start with. That's who I was going to start with, but I didn't want to get too deep. Just jealous because somebody is popular, overlooking the fact that you're just as popular. They were having a moment. If you were a friend, you would have basked in that moment, but you showed that you weren't a friend. You showed that one shot said came with a T and ended with a Bible study. This is why I love Nikki. Welcome to a NikkiStar TV Live. We never know how it's going. It starts a certain way, it ends another. Nasby said what's also crazy about all of this is that Nick doesn't seem like a spotlight hog. He's been fine sharing the stage with Ola, with Ace, with Taylor. He's fine and been back up and supportive of the role. One thing I will give him is that he always makes sure that Alandria has the spotlight. Always put the back on her. Always makes her a priority. Where he's lacking is in his full protection of her from racism. And I think it's just because it's something he doesn't experience. And he doesn't think it's a big deal because it's not something that he goes through. And I hate this for Alandria, but she's going to have to tell him how to protect her. She wants to be with a man who already knows that, but you're not, honey. You're not. So if this relationship is going to work, you're going to have to tell him how to protect you. He asked about a leave out, and you helped him. When he asked about racism, let him know the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Don't hold nothing back. He definitely needs a good mentor. He definitely needs a good mentor. Denise said it's bad enough that he and Shelly are doing Shelly doing press for herself like she wasn't in a couple. That's what it is. He was so consumed by jealousy, he can't even think straight. You should have been out there protecting her. After everything she went through, she should have been your priority. And here's the thing, Ace, you are showing her how you will be as a partner. How you will be as a husband who is supposed to be the provider and the protector. You provide for her. You get bringing that hell done, clock it. You do all that. Are you protecting her? Absolutely not. You should have known. You should have known. Messed up everybody's bag. Nala said, I don't know why it also reminds me of deep. Yep. And that is the thing. Women, especially Black women, you have to start thinking of yourself. You got to get conceited, ladies. You got to get conceited. You have to start thinking of yourself the opposite of what society tells you who you are. You have to know that this world will be nothing without you. You have to know that this world cannot go on without you. You have to know who you are. You have to stand in it, and you cannot take any bull crap. This is why I constantly talk about the preference and colorism and all of that, because it is dividing the most powerful community in this world, on this planet. Women. Men don't have the influence. It's women. Women are the influence of the world. And the biggest influence in this world, Black women. Women, especially non-Black women who are attracted to Black men, are attracted to Black men because of Black women. Y'all don't want that man because of him. Y'all want that man because of the work that Black women put into him. You don't know it. You think it's just him. You call it swag. What we call it, work. That Black man is attractive because of the work that the Black woman in his life did upon that young man. That's why I constantly talk about it, because I need women to wake up and get it while they are constantly trying to enslave us. All of these laws voting against our bodies. Why? Because they need to control the influence. Same thing happening with Black Americans. They need to control the influence. That's why I get mad at the diaspora wars. What the hell are you doing? You got the freaking motion. What are you doing? But women have to start moving like that. Because if you don't, you will end up with these men who are weaponizing their sperm, getting you pregnant, holding you back, clipping your wings, and stealing your spotlight. That's what's happening right now to Hoodlum. She don't realize it. Hoodlum does not realize that that man that she's with is stealing her spotlight. And when she finds it out, woe to that man. Woe to that man, because she does not like, nor does she respect anybody Black. So woe to that man. But this happens all the time. That's why I always talk about it. So many of y'all are laying next to your biggest op. So many of y'all are currently carrying the child of your biggest op. These men are jealous. And because society has made you think that you are less than, that you can't lead unless a man is leading, get the hell out of here. What the hell do they know? What the hell do they know? They ain't never had no sense. That's why their mothers are always telling them to go after a wise woman. Nick's mama saw the Proverbs 31 woman that Alandria is. And she said, that's my daughter-in-law. She didn't care what her son was doing. She said, I know what I see, and that's who he needs to be with. I'm going to get on it. And that's exactly what she did. Not only did she get on it, she reached out to Alandria's mother and said, we making this happen. Why? Because she sees the wisdom in that woman. And she sees how every man whose presence, who has been in Alandria's presence, has elevated. She's seen that. That boy couldn't see it. Why? Because he's dumb. Society raises men to be dumb. Women are the wisdom. Always have been. The wisdom, the influence, and the power. But as long as you believe that you are beneath the man, ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. And you're going to grow up and hate you're going to grow up in this relationship with this man, hate your life. And instead of realizing, damn, I was scammed, you're going to try to tear down either your daughter or any young woman that comes in your presence because you are jealous that she is free and you are not. Wake up! Please, Lord. Please wake up. Shay says, funny how all the black men assemble like Avengers to say NikkiNicoleStar. Yep. But none of them better than that. The only reason why they are all running and doing this is because they do not want to be out of trend. That's all this is. They ain't got nothing to do with the Landria. They don't want to be out of trend. So it's like, oh, that white man never really loved her. Okay. But the white girls love you though, right? That's what it is. White women love you. But white men hate black women. Why is that? Why is it different for you and not black women? They don't want to be out of trend because black men like that are competing with black women. Period. Nasby said, Hood's alleged boyfriend May has messed up his bag and hers with his response to Andy Cohen. They're young and dumb. They don't realize it. When I saw that video of Louis telling Andy to shut up, I said, well, y'all gonna find out just how important that man is because y'all, a lot of them who are doing this are too young to know that Andy was not a host. Andy is not only an executive, he is the creator of Bravo. He brought Bravo to NBC. That is his entire network. That man has been working at that network for decades. He has power and pull in this industry that Huda and Louis could only imagine. They are going to find out individually just how powerful he is. Them deranged teenagers cannot compete with Andy Cohen. But let them find out. Every baby needs a lesson. Every baby needs a lesson. They got to grow up. They got to figure some things out. T said, can't tell you how on time and unexpected this message was. Ended a 3-year relationship recently, and it's been an uphill battle. You will be fine. You are the star, honey. You are the best thing that could ever happen to a man. The best thing. They live longer with you. Know who you are, ladies. Know who you are. Let me get a couple more and then let me get out of here. Springtime said, I remember you talking about Huda's eventual downfall. We might be on the... Oh, I'm telling you, it's happening. Listen, I thought it was going to take some time. Oh, this is happening quicker than I ever thought. The minute she made Andy her target, I said, oh, there it is. Oh, you reached too high. You should have stayed bullying black women. Now you're going at the wealthy white men? Yikes. Have fun. I didn't want to talk about it, but we saw it clear as day. How every man, no matter the race, instantly became attractive when he got a black girlfriend or wife. And what happened to the men who dated black women and were attractive when they started dating non-black women? Hideous. You got the power. Well, this is the thing. She's that dumb because of how young she is, and there's never any accountability. And she has a bunch of deranged teenagers telling her that she's right. Foolish. Foolish. No, she's not. They don't, guys, they don't know who Andy Cohen is. They don't know. They don't know Andy. They just think that he's some whack host for Love Island. No, baby, that's an executive. A big time executive and the owner and the creator of an entire network. You can't box with him. Absolutely. Because I know who we are. I told y'all from jump. I had never been never bought into the lie. There was always something special about me. I never bought into the lie of about white people or men. I never bought into it. I never, ever bought into it. No. You are not better than me because your skin is lighter. You're not better than me because you're slimmer. You're not better than me because you're richer. You're not better than me because of your genitalia. I will never buy into that lie. I know who I am. I know how people are affected when I walk in the room. Play with somebody else. Absolutely not. The Lux Explorer said Ace has done collateral damage to Shelly. Also remember Ace and Shelly supporting Amaya and Brian to win and not Nick and Delandria. Listen, I will give the reason why I will give this to them is because Nick and Delandria were so new. Brian and Amaya were very new as well, but Nick and Delandria literally just happened, guys. So I can see where they were at for that. I don't think that they were upset with them because they had literally just got out the villa. So they didn't really know everything. I think when Ace sat and saw the power, that's when that envy set in. They better lock themselves in a room, no alcohol and no freaky deaky stuff, and watch that entire season and move according to that. Excuse me. Shoni said Andy has the pull to change lives. They're too young to. They're dumb. They're dumb. And Louis was already on YouTube crying about how he can't make no money from reality TV. Baby, you better go back to the UK. You're done. Priya said Clark needs to keep Taylor away from Rothschild. Listen, it's very true. What did Offset say? What did Offset say to Cardi? You my baby mama. I won. Denise said Nikki said Hilda's arms too. She about to find out real quick. She about to find and see, but that's what happens to white adjacent people. Because they feel like they can get one over on black people, they think they white. You about to find out you should have kept your fight with black women. There you would have had some leeway. You would have had some support. Now you going after wealthy white men. Well, it was fun while it lasted, wasn't it? You're so welcome, Takara. Kay said, just also one on thread say Speedy is biracial. Woo! And those are the relationships that normally work. The ones that start off as friendship. Because if a woman can trust you, y'all can build better. And the funniest thing is, what if Nick and Landria outlast all of them relationships? Then what? Then what? 7 deadly sins for a reason. 7 deadly sins for a reason. All of them. All of them. I know you meant Kiki. Anyway, Star family, it's almost been 4 hours. Guys, we got to go. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being on this live for me. Make sure you give your girl some likes. I'm going to get out of here, make something to eat. Love on Mama Star. And I will see you all tomorrow for something else because it will probably be something Love Island because I know this cast is not going to let me rest. I will see. Oh shoot, will I see you tomorrow? I got something in the morning, but I'll be fine after that. So I'll see you. Oh shoot. Here's the thing. For everybody who's asking me about Love is Blind UK, the reason why I haven't done it yet is because and I want to do it in the afternoon because my UK people said that's when y'all can watch it. I am trying to do the live in the afternoon, but I have had so much work in the early morning. Like the evenings has been the only time I have had freedom to do anything else outside of work. So I was going to do Love is Blind UK tomorrow afternoon, but I got to work. So here's the thing, y'all. I'm going to do Love is Blind UK late afternoon. Please, to my UK family, I'm sorry. I'm going to try. Let me, you know what? I'm going to do a post. Let me know if y'all want me to do it tomorrow afternoon or Friday afternoon. I can do that. But tomorrow afternoon will be late afternoon. So the earliest I could probably do it is 4 PST in America. Let me know if that works for you. If it doesn't, it's going to have to be 12 p.m. PST American time. Let me know, y'all. I love y'all, and I will see y'all soon for something else. We're going to be all right. Ace messed up, y'all. He messed up big time, but it's protect Black women over here. So we still going to ride for Shelly. Unless she gives us a reason not to, we still going to ride for her. I'm not going to blame her for the decisions of her man. That's not right. That's not right. I'm going to hold her accountable for her actions. And that is all. I hate the fact that Ace did this, but you live and you learn. Unfortunately, this young man is growing up in front of the world. Thank God y'all didn't see me at 23. Woo, look, you know what? I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder. I wasn't like this, though. I wasn't like this. I had some sense. Anyway, I got to get out of here. I love y'all. See you tomorrow. I'm going to put up a post. Let me know what time y'all want to do Love Island, Love Child, Love is Blind. And I will see you all soon. Bye. Oh, child, these kids.